Nobodies.
I don't know if I have enough space on my phone. So like before you came, I was like deleting all like my podcasts and
Deleting porn.
yeah.
Well, backing that up first.
I don't want to delete those. Those are valuable.
Might make you famous one day.
Dude. Oh, I forgot. Oh my god. I forgot to tell this. But she's gonna hate me if she hears this. So we go was it 2 days ago to meet up with her dad and her brother and brother's family. Her brother ended up making, but his wife was there, and then the kids. We go to Golden Corral in Nampa. They're super nice. It was fun. That was like the second time I met up with them. But she was trying to show her dad something on the safari, and she's like, she already played a video. It was like this raccoon that was had cotton candy, and it was like trying, like, they dip their food first in water, right, I guess, and it dips it in, and then it just disappears.
It just dissolves.
It's pretty funny. But she's like, "How do I make it play again?" And I was just like, "You just use the scroll bar," and I like scroll up, and then when it's wide, all the tabs are open, and right beside that tab, there was like a bunch of porn tabs.
And you're just like, we gotta turn this phone real quick.
Oh, I just like I went to the main, like when you hit Safari and you hit it when it pops up, and I just like swiped them all right or left to like get rid. I'm like, we cannot have an accident here.
Oh no.
I mean, they were right beside. I was like, dude, I totally forgot to tell her. I was gonna tell her once we got in the car. I was like, holy shit. I mean, that's such a close call.
Right.
Like just an accidental swipe or something, and all of a sudden her dad's like, what's this?
Somebody grabs your phone and then is like trying to replay it, and then they hit the wrong tab, and you're just like, oh. Well, there goes family dinner right there.
Dude, I don't know what her dad would do. It'd just be like, probably just like lock up and freeze.
Just like the deer in the headlights, just,
yeah. Dude, when I lived at Whitewater, there was something going on with the power out, like the power in the outlet. So when I would plug in my phone and use it, it would do just weird shit. Like different tabs would open up. It would skip from messages over to photos, and every time I'd like try to type a text, it just go, like, and so I'd constantly be sending just gibberish. I'm like, what the fuck? I thought it was my phone. I ended up getting a new phone.
Yeah.
And it did the same thing, and I realized it's when it's plugged in.
Oh, really?
Some sort of like extra power that's like hitting it. But anyway, I was just trying to snap my mom one time, and like try to send her a picture. It just goes, and I like sent something, and I didn't know what I sent. But apparently I sent like some sort of porn, because she's like, Josh, that's inappropriate or something. I was like, wait, I was trying to send you this thing of me and Cinda, and she's like, you sent me some porn, and I like look through all my photos to find like what's close.
Right.
And the only things that I could find was like naughty videos this girl was sending me, and I was just like, oh no, like
it's like you're also like trying to like figure out, okay, like how do I backtrack here? Mom, I'm just trying to be creative. I'm just trying to show you my expression. Probably not the right person to do it with, but
yeah, I get enough shit from people I work with about that already.
Josh, you dirty dog.
Let alone my parents. Fuck. There's one other time we did the a party for Halloween. It was Hugh Hefner theme, and so I had like softcore porn on the TV. We had a photo booth area. Everybody's like Playboy bunnies or Hughes or people that would be at the mansion, so just like celebrity characters and stuff. But that was like my biggest party year, and we had was when I was selling weed, and so I had like a weed closet with unlimited weed in the laundry room. We like draped the towel over, made a blue light, and just had a bong there, and like just unlimited weed. And people like lining out the door for like smoking each other out. But then we had in my room, we just like got a bunch of different like sex toys, like a whip and a dildo, and we just like had them laying out like on the bed and shit. And Lindsay takes a picture of it and posts it on her story, and my mom sees, and she's like, Lindsay. She's like,
no.
Like, come on.
You're just like sitting there and you're like, think before you post.
Yeah.
That's so funny. It's like one of those when you sit there and like you're trying to like think, okay, like when you take a picture, okay, what's in the background? Do I have anything incriminating? Like when we were when everybody was over at like my house for Hannah's birthday, like we're all just out in the garage. Most everybody's just chilling out in the garage because we're all just smoking weed like in the garage. And I'm like, all right, if we're gonna take pictures, we're gonna post a video. So we're posting a video, and all of a sudden I see in one of them, there's just this like pre-lit like roll just smoking it up in the garage. And I was like, cool, my house, whatever. And then I get tagged in it, and I was like, sweet. Well, you know what? It is what it is. It's 2024, almost 2025.
Yeah, last day
should be legal.
Yeah. Cheers to the last day of 2024.
What a year.
Yeah, man.
Wild.
Ian's on again. So what did we say? You were the first technical episode when I broke my camera, so nobody never saw the light of day. And then number 6, and now number 40.
Yeah. Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Dude, I'm gonna try. Fuck, I always say this, but I'm gonna try to do an episode a week this year. So if I by the end of 25, I'll be almost at 100. That would be huge.
Dude, that's a lot of episodes.
That's a lot.
Well, most podcasts don't even make it past 10 episodes.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's like it's like one of my proudest accomplishments, even though it doesn't even matter that nobody watches it. I mean, it's like my average viewer rate is like maybe 40 or 50 between like Spotify and YouTube and stuff.
Right.
But I'm like, yeah, but I did it longer than most people. And normally I don't stick to shit. So, you know, like I quit most of my adventures in life. So
you sit there and be like, ha, I made it longer. I'm better than all of you.
Yeah. I'm like, nobody's watching, but it doesn't matter.
It matters to me.
It matters to me.
That's funny.
Yeah, I remember the first time we podcast. I just remember thinking we had like some really good conversations, and when I saw like just the camera just was not working, I'm like, God fucking damn it.
Yeah, I don't remember much.
We got pretty litty.
Yeah. I remember like sitting there and I was just like, oh. And you're like, the camera died. And I was like, oh, well, that was fun.
Yeah. Dude, that's what happened on Emma and I had a trial run that we didn't end up posting because that happened where the camera didn't die, but we were just so drunk, and then Hannah called, and then she was talking to Hannah, and I laid down and I fell asleep. And so then you just see her like after she talks to Hannah, she's just kind of sitting there like pooping on her phone, like probably forgot that we were podcasting, you know, and just like, all right, and she just bounced out. And I just like have the trail off at the end. I was like, dude, there's nothing here.
It's like a 5-minute conversation. You're like, huh, well, that was fun.
Yeah. So then we did run a second one to get ours out.
I remember it was Tyler's, and you're like, yeah, Ian and I had the best podcast ever, but we'll never know. And he's like, you think it was the best? I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
Just I can't remember shit.
It's like if you open the box, then you know if like the secret's out, or it's just like, oh, what's that? It's like it's some sort of conundrum. But if you're like, what's in the box? It's like, oh, it's something bad. And you'd be like, but if you don't open the box, you won't find out.
You talking like Pandora's box?
It's kind of like that, but there's it's basically you don't want to open the box because then you'll find out it's bad or not. And then if you open the box, you made it bad, because if you kept the box shut, you would never know. So there's a name for it, and I'm fucking it up, but there is. I learned it on Silicon Valley. They talk about it. But yeah, so like because nobody ever see it, we can always say it was the best podcast ever, and no one will ever know that for sure, but we know.
No one can ever refute.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
It was the best podcast ever. It's like Santa Claus. You know what? Once you ruin that for like a little kid, like
that's forever.
You ruin all that fun.
Yeah.
However, it is pretty fun to watch them get all upset.
I like upsetting children.
Fuck those kids, man.
Yeah.
They need to know.
I'm gonna clip
things
that.
Are wrong.
Ian saying "fuck those kids."
dude, it's like the same thing like when you like go through, especially like with the holidays, and like they're like, oh, like the Easter bunny's real, like Santa Claus is real, which Santa is still real.
That
Make that
is
abundantly
confirmed.
clear. Don't want to be put on the naughty list for fucking 2025 already.
Yeah.
But dude, I think it's crazy that like we sit there and like everyone goes, oh, like no, you have to like tell kids that it's all real and you have to like go into the illusion. I'm like, why don't you just let them decide like for themselves? It's like giving participation awards.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you, there's clear winners and there's clear losers.
Yeah.
Like, don't just here's a ribbon for participating. Good job. Life ain't gonna do that.
Do they still do that? Do you think?
Yeah,
Fuck.
it's getting worse and worse. And I'm like, that's not how I'm gonna raise my kids. They get a
No.
participation award. I'm gonna take it away. I'm gonna throw it away.
Dude.
You lost. That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that they still did that. I thought that was like a phase. It was after me. Like I was,
Or they don't
I think
keep
I was
score.
I think it was in college or beyond when I started hearing about, high schools or elementary schools doing that shit or whatever.
Mm.
But I thought that was only a phase because then I thought that the societies kind of realized that they like we have a bunch of fucking lazy assholes and we got to switch that up. But maybe not.
I think it depends. I mean, like there are certain people that still like give out participation awards. Like I get it, but like you're either gonna win or you're gonna lose. There's no.
I mean,
Hey,
life is not that way.
pay
It's
for
just,
effort.
I thought, like, yeah, you're supposed to. Aren't we training for life in here? But I
Yeah.
guess a lot of my schooling wasn't training for life. I learned a lot about the Bible, but there's a lot of life lessons I did not learn.
Just do the opposite of what
Yeah.
you learned.
Dude, I actually ended up arguing with this girl that she's a nice girl. She went to my church in Alabama, and she like just like hit me up the other day. Hey, I was just checking in, see how you are and stuff, and like good. And then she's just like, hey, have you ever thought any more about coming back to Jesus? And I was like, nope. And so we just like went down the rabbit hole, and I was just drunk enough to like have fun arguing with her. And I haven't even thought about this stuff hardly ever, except for
Right.
like when I go home sometimes, or I hardly ever like hang around religious people that much. So it's like it's just out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
So I was like, oh, I remember this is fun. And I'm just like saying my piece. And she's like, well, what about this and this?
Yeah. I was having a conversation, it was like a couple months back, about like one of my friends, saying that he's rededicating his life to Christ and walking a better life, better everything. And I was like, oh, that's good. And I go, so you're not doing this anymore, not doing this anymore. He's like, oh no. He's like, well, I'll do this. And I was like, well, like that's not really being godly, is it? And he's like, well, I mean, it's better than where I was living. I was like, I think you're still wrong. And I'm like, dude, I am not trying to be a dick. I am not trying to be mean, but like, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I just feel like you're attacking me. I just feel like you're upset that I decided to do this. And I'm like, no. It's just fun just to sit there and like ask you questions. I go, that's the only way you're going to like convince yourself and convince others that somebody is your friend and is going to sit there and like be a devil's advocate for it.
Yeah.
What? Devil's advocate. That's funny.
I know.
Yeah. I've always wondered why we get that saying.
Because we're advocating for the devil. No, don't you dare eat that shit. Dude, he's been destroying this.
He was down there just eating away.
Oh my God. Dude, he loves it. I moved it in here. Well, I keep these in sometimes the podcast, but I move them back out there.
Yeah.
But this one I moved in full time because and shut the door.
It's destroyed.
Dude, he's just destroying it. Fuck. Yeah, I guess it's because we're advocating the devil's point of view.
But like even when it's a non-religious thing, they always go, oh, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Why is it called devil's advocate?
Well, isn't the word Satan, I think, means the it's like the counter or the opposite. It's like the anti. So
that makes sense.
It should be called Satan's advocate. I guess it's good for, like if you're going to argue or debate something, it's good to know the other side.
Yeah.
But
Well, I think you should do that regardless. I mean, that there's never a point where you just go, okay, this is it, and like that's that. Like you always have to have somebody that still cares about you, that goes to the opposite side and is like, are you sure though?
yeah,
Like, do you really? Do you really think that? Do you really believe that?
yeah. When we were talking, I was talking to that girl, and she's just like, "Well, don't." I was, talking about seeing God on psychedelics, and she's like, "Well, don't you think like isn't that just Satan trying to trick you?" And I was just like, and we were talking. I was talking about another religion, or like, well, what do you say to all these people who believe in Allah, and like their way is right and you're wrong?
Right.
And she's like, well, that's just Satan trying to trick them. I was like, so basically, you have all the right answers, and everybody who believes differently is just Satan trying to trick them. But could it be that is tricking you, and actually they have it right? And she's like, well, no, because Satan would never uh, act a certain way like Jesus does or something. I was like,
Oh,
dude, it's the same. It's just very strange.
dude, that's so funny.
Oh,
I don't know. I sit there and again, you believe what you believe. I believe what I
right.
believe.
That's why I'm.
Everything is all different for one another, and like that's cool, dude. No one's gonna have the answers. No one's gonna know what's right or wrong, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Like really, honestly, be a good person. Like, don't be an asshole, and you're good. Like,
You're an asshole.
yeah, but I'm a good person.
Dude, it's so funny when you're just like, I don't even like people. I'm like, dude, you're hanging out with people 7 days a week. What are you talking about? You don't like people.
Yeah, but they're all assholes. So like,
Yeah.
it's fine.
I'm like, you're pretty social.
No, I'm not social at all.
No. Oh man. Yeah, when you're just like, I'm an asshole. I'm like, dude, you're like one of the sweetest guys I know.
Well, I think there's to a point of like everyone's an asshole. It's
just
just
to make up for how I feel about everybody.
well, I think that again, being an asshole is different. Like sometimes it's just more like you're cracking jokes with friends or like, people give each other crap back and forth. And I think it's not one of those where it's like, oh, that guy's an asshole. Like, oh, he's just being funny. But then there are other people that are just like legitimately, that guy's an asshole. Like,
Mhm.
it honestly, I mean, I look at, my phone right now, dude. I got 1,500 text messages. I was like, I don't want to respond to anybody
Yeah.
right now.
Well, I mean, I know you don't respond to texts a lot. Like, but
No.
that's I like to do that or try to do that with a lot of people. You create a culture of like, yeah, he doesn't respond that often,
Yeah.
like, and so that way nobody's like offended when I don't respond. But yeah, I think you do that well. I'm like, if I text you, I don't hear from him. I'm like, yeah, see, he doesn't text back.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I think the other thing is too is I would much rather, let's say like you're working or you're like, hey, come do this. I would much rather just like either show up or if I make a plan, I'm gonna stick to that plan and then like be there with the person. Like
Yeah.
when I go and I have plans with somebody, like I'm not sitting there like, okay, we made plans to go see this show or we made plans to like podcast, right? I'm not sitting here on my phone just checking it, like not like being there, being like
That's why I
in the
got invited back
conversation.
again.
Let's go, baby.
Can you imagine if somebody was to sit on their phone all the time and be like, dude, come on.
You're just like asking them questions or you're like talking and they're just like, uh-huh.
You are the
See?
most boring guest I've ever had.
So this one's gonna be about 20 minutes long. Thanks. Now please leave my house. Dude, a lot of people though, like a lot of people just in general end up like sitting there like when you're like going to do something or you make plans with somebody and they sit on their phones. Dude, that frustrates the hell out of me.
Dude, I just don't really keep friends like that do that hardly anymore. And then some of mine will every once in a while do it. Like when I was kicking with Kiara a lot, like she'd be like, "Oh, like thanks for coming over and hanging out and being on your phone." She's like, "Oh, sorry," but I'm just giving shit. But like I'll give shit to somebody I'm comfortable giving shit with.
Right.
That way, like they know I'm calling them out a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think the other thing is too is like if someone's either inviting me out or I invite them out, like I want to be like present in
Yeah.
whatever we're doing or like in our conversation. I don't want to be sitting there like on my phone, like not paying attention and not being like, oh, I missed something or I misheard something, right?
Yeah.
You know, because like that's where rumors start. That's where shit gets, misconstrued. And it's like, I'd much rather be active, be a part of the conversation. Now, something major is going on, like, hey, like, I have like a family crisis going on and like
Yeah, of
I need
course.
to respond. Perfect. Also, just say something at the beginning so that way I know, that way I'm not like, man, this guy's a
Yeah,
dick.
that's what I
Like,
would do. Yeah, it's just like, "Hey, I'm waiting on a specific text. Sorry if I check my phone here and there.
right.
I gotta get back to them." They're like, "Oh, it's cool." But
Yeah. Or,
yeah.
somebody's just like all on their phone and like you're at a concert and you're like, huh, how's that concert on your phone?
Yeah.
Like,
Dude, I have a rule for myself, at concerts, and it happened because I caught myself, like, filming every song for a hot
no.
second. I was like, "Dude, I don't wanna be that guy." So, it's like, 1 photo, 1 or 2 photos. I video my favorite song, or I'll wait till, like, one of the best songs,
Yeah.
video that for the chorus. So I'm like, I know all the songs. I'm here
Right.
for the show. I love these songs. I can listen to them on Spotify. I don't, but
Right.
I'll get one for the memory, and then like
Yeah.
a selfie with whoever I'm with or something. But it's just
Yeah.
like those 3 or 4 times, and then that's it. Like other than that, the phone's in the pocket.
Well, again, why do you go to concerts, right? It's for the experience. It's for seeing them live. It's not for like recording them and taking a
Yeah.
shitload of pictures. Like, if that's the case, I can just, again, get on the internet and do the
Right.
same thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Somebody else has a way better version of it on the internet that you can just go watch.
right.
Like,
And it's funny because, like, again, I'm bad at texting people back. I'm bad at snapping people. I'm bad at like responding to emails that aren't work emails. Like, but it's just who I am, because like when I go and I hang out with somebody, or like I like am going to do something, like I'm there. Like,
yeah.
I made a big thing like this year, and I've done a pretty good job, but like it was like no being on your phone and driving, right? Like I do a lot of the hands free now.
See, I do the opposite. I only drive if I'm on my phone.
Wait, let me get on my phone. I gotta get my car.
I gotta get in my car. Let me get my decks going.
But no,
Kidding.
I ended up catching myself last year just like always being on my phone while I'm driving, like texting people or doing something. And I'm like, if I'm gonna do that, like that's just dangerous.
Yeah.
And I'm like, instead, either I'm gonna call the person or I'm just gonna leave my phone down, make sure my music's on, make sure it's a good playlist, and then I get to where I'm going. Because I like notice myself just like not paying attention to the road.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is dangerous.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude, if we ever trade in or upgrade our pieces of shit that we drive, they have like my sister has like just the connectivity, and somebody texts and it's just serious, just like, hey, they text, you
Yeah.
wanna read it? Yeah. They say this, you wanna respond? Yeah. Say this, it's just all vocal command.
Yeah.
It's just all synced up really easily.
So Mina has that in her car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, mine's an old school, like 2016 base model piece of crap. Like,
This
cool.
year's 2016.
Huh?
I thought yours was older than mine. That's crazy.
Yeah, 2016.
Yeah.
So I had the '08 for a while.
Okay.
And then that was a lot. My 2008 car was more smart than my 2016.
Really?
Yeah.
More smarter.
More smarter. But yeah, I mean, like, but that was like one of the biggest things, because like I noticed, like, towards like the end of 23, I'm like, dude, I would like turn my car on, I would pull out of like my driveway, and I'd already be on my phone, like reading text messages or trying to respond back to people, and I'm like not paying attention. I remember the one time I ran a red light.
Oh,
Luckily, nobody was there, but I'm like, huh. Oh shit, I missed my turn.
Oh, fuck.
And so like I'm in a different neighborhood, and I was like, yeah, I can't do that. Like that's putting everybody else in danger. It's putting myself in danger. And I'm like, just put the phone down, put it in the passenger seat, like don't pay attention to it, and
Yeah.
it's so much better.
Do you ever slide it like underneath, like in your gooch, so that way when people text you, you're like,
I don't have that Ooh.
Dude, talk to me in 10 years. I have taint cancer.
all of a sudden you're like, oh man, all that vibration down there. Bad idea.
What is it, like the EMFs or whatever that they were worried about cause cancer for a
Oh
while? But,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, like the EMPs,
Yeah.
electromagnetic pulses.
Yeah.
Those are good for you.
Yeah. I
They
like
feel
the
good.
pulse. Are you doing
Yeah.
any I don't know, resolutions or fucking goals for your
For
I
25?
started asking that. I was like, man, this sounds gay.
For 25? Not really. I mean, I think, well, I am gonna do one. And I'm actually starting it at the very beginning of the year is I need to take more time off of work. I need to take more time away from work because I work so fucking much.
You do.
Like, and it's crazy. So I went back and I like calculated how many days I took off last year, and I ended up taking 6 days total off.
Jesus.
And I'm like, that's terrible. So
Yeah,
for the last,
and you get like what, 4 weeks or something?
so we have unlimited vacation.
Oh shit.
So
but you never use it.
yeah. So like the company loves it. I don't care because I don't mind working.
Yeah.
But I was looking at it, I was like, I took 2 weeks off total in 2 years.
That's nuts.
That's terrible. And then I look at like my coworkers, and like one of my coworkers last year really didn't take much time off. He decided to take a lot more time off. And then we had somebody else that took a shitload of time off this year. And she's super new. And I was like, man, I need to take some time off.
Yeah.
So like beginning of the year, I'm like, oh, cool. The second and the third, we come back. It's a Thursday, Friday. Yeah, I'm taking those off. I'm taking the Monday off when we get back because we're going to Vegas. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just start taking time off. I'm just gonna start enjoying myself.
Yeah. Yeah, and if anyone says anything, you can just point to the 2 previous years, be like, I took 1 week off the last 2 years. Like, I'm taking as much as I want this year.
Dude, when I got married, I ended up trying to take 4 days off. I ended up taking a day and a half.
That's so bad.
Dude, how bad is that? Like, I should be focused.
Prep for the wedding for 2 years because you're like, I'm not taking off any time of work, so we need extra time.
No, that was not my choice. But no, I mean, it kind of worked out well. I ended up like trying to take the Thursday, Friday off before the wedding, and then Thursday something was going on, and then somebody pinged me. It was like, "Hey, can you join this meeting real quick?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean that's fine." And if I work more than an hour, it counts as a full day of work technically.
Yeah.
And then Friday, I was like, okay, like I'm not gonna get on, not gonna get on. All of a sudden, just kept getting pinged because I was in a like group Teams chat, and I was like, why is my phone blowing up? Like I'm not in like friend group chats. Like I don't have that many friends. So like,
yeah, right. We're in so many group chats. Fucking,
we have so many.
Yeah.
But then I was like, okay, I guess I'll get on. I'll see what's going on. And then I ended up working for like 2 hours. And then my mom, she was staying with us. She comes in and she goes, "You're getting married. Your rehearsal is in an hour. Turn it off, or I'm going to get on camera and I'm going to yell at everyone that you are getting married. Get off now." So I was on the phone with somebody.
Hilarious if she did.
So I was on the phone with one of my coworkers. I was like, "Hey, my mom told me that I'm getting married, so I need to get off." He just starts laughing because he's about the same age. He goes, "My mom did the same thing when I got married. I get it. I'll talk to you on Monday." I go, "I'll talk to you Wednesday because I'm going to take some time off."
Yeah. You didn't work. Did you work during the bachelor weekend or week? Bachelor party?
I did. So I did when we first got down there. That was that Thursday.
Yeah.
And then I ended up taking a work call on Friday. And then Saturday, Sunday, I didn't do anything. Yeah. And then we came back, Monday. Came back Monday morning. And I still ended up working Monday late night.
Did you?
Because we got home so late.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well.
I couldn't remember if we got back Sunday or Monday because we got home pretty late. But
yeah, Monday. Well, we got stuck in Vegas.
Vegas airport, yeah. Fuck.
Spirit Airlines. What a trip, dude.
Dude, that was nuts. But, like, chasing away that hangover, just like, "Fuck, dude, we can't get caught in the airport with a hangover."
Oh yeah. Then we just like kept drinking and was just like, oh man, now I feel great. Well, let's just keep drinking.
Yeah.
Oh man, I feel a little.
I'm pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, "We still got 2 hours." Dude, I really did. We were I was unsure that we were gonna fly out.
Hmm.
You know, I was like, "Dude, we're gonna get stuck. I'm gonna, like, see if we can all crash at Severo's or just grab a quick hotel, but then we're gonna be even more hungover tomorrow, and then
Yeah.
doing this all again." Be so annoying.
Well, because we were supposed to get home at like what 1, 2 o'clock,
Yeah.
and then we didn't end up. I think we didn't end up getting home till like what 9:30, 10
Mhm.
o'clock.
Yeah, we were just in the airport all day.
Well, and I'm glad that after we ended up getting our last drinks, like we walked back to the counter to see or to our gate and like figured out, oh, like they moved us because we couldn't hear
Yeah.
anything. And all of a sudden they started boarding and we're like, oh, well, time to chug some beer.
Dude, the amount of time I used to never miss flights, and now I just missed that one going down to, Arizona, and I
Yeah.
just, like, my alarm was ringing, but it was, like, silent. I woke up, like, 2 hours after my flight. I
Oh,
was like,
yeah. I
"God
remember that.
fucking damn it," and luckily, they got me on another flight. It was, like, $150 or something. It wasn't terrible, but and then there was one time I was sitting in Scottsdale, and I had already this was my second connection, and I
Oh,
was coming
really?
back from, Pennsylvania, and, Lindsay was flying to Scottsdale, and I was flying back to Boise, but I was, like, in the Phoenix airport, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, "Oh, I gotta board at 8 PM," and here the flight left at 8 PM or something. I had it in my head,
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there chit-chatting, and I'm like, "Oh, it's 8, gotta go board. Nice chatting with you." Walk around the corner, the airplane's just, like, moving down the tarmac. I'm like, "Oh, fuck." Walk back to the bar. I'm like, he's like, "What?" I was like, "It's my flight." "Oh, I'll get it."
I'll take another, please.
Yeah, and Lindsay was still in the air, so I just texted her. I was like, "Hey, when you land, can you take me to your house?"
I'll get a flight in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it was ridiculous because that flight was like ridiculous because we came down and like I thought, man, we hit kind of hard. And so I'm like, okay, like whatever, like no big deal. And then all of a sudden we get off and like we just seem a lot lower. So we gotta like get up and over
Yeah.
like into the bridge. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, that just seems a little odd, but whatever. Because that was the same plane we were supposed to take
Yeah.
back. And then all of a sudden, then I started seeing like the next two flights that were supposed to go out like next to it were like being delayed. And then they pushed our plane back, closed the bridge. And I was like,
What is
oh, we're
happening?
getting delayed. Well, okay, like let's go get a beer. Like we're
Yeah.
fine. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we're having like maintenance issues. And I was like, oh, okay. Three of the tires are like blown out. I was like, okay. Well,
Yeah.
there's also no extra planes because every other plane for Spirit was like
Dude, they are
down.
such a shit show company. Cindy used to work for them. She's like, "Dude, it is nuts how, like, shitty it is."
I could not believe though that like you're still like a large company and you don't have any spare planes. Like,
Yeah.
oh, all of our other ones are down for maintenance as well.
What?
How do you make money? Like,
Well, yeah. I mean, I think they make money all on those $150 check or carry-on bags when they, like, get people 'cause nobody reads the fine print, or it's not even that fine a print, but it's like you have to own a
yeah.
small bag or already, like, pay the extra money.
Hmm.
So,
You only get the one personal
yeah,
item.
because I take that risk and I fly with one personal item, but my bag is way bigger
Yeah.
than the personal item size, but because of the backpack and I'm pretty, like, broad shoulders, I just, like, kinda keep I'll have, like, a sweater on and it just hides the bag, so they just see a
Yeah.
strap, and then I just put it under my seat or whatever.
Yeah. I ended up, especially with Spirit, where it's like they have all the extra fees and stuff like that. I end up just doing a personal bag. And I remember the one time I was flying to Chicago and they're like, sir, we don't know if that bag is a personal item. I was like, it's a backpack, it's a personal item. They're like, well, it's kind of like a hiking backpack. It's a personal item And they're like, I don't think it's gonna fit underneath your seat. I go, I'll make it fit. I remember like just going underneath and just stuffing it down and not having space. And so like my like legs are up like this. Just this is a sweet 3.5 hour flight.
Yeah. Dude, I had one where I like my big camera bag.
Yeah.
And normally it'll fit under the seats. It sometimes won't fit up top if it's a smaller plane.
Yeah.
But it'll still fit on the seats. This one plane, it won't fit on the seats or up top. And I just was like, I am not checking this. This is all my camera equipment. I'm like, no, just sitting there like that.
All of a sudden, the flight attendant comes over and it's like, "Sir, we need to check your bag." No, I'm good. I'll keep it here.
Yeah, there's no way, dude. I found out if you, this is like a poor person hack, but if you have like an old credit card that's like closed or whatever,
Yeah.
you order like a drink or two, and then when they come to have you pay for it, you're like, here you go. And then they're like, oh, it's not working. You're like, oh shit. They're like, yeah, don't worry about it. And I like I've done it twice now where I like have it and then they try to run it and they're like it's not working. And I was like, do you take cash? And they don't. So
Right.
I don't want to take cash. Like, I don't have any other cards. You can have back. And they're like yeah, because they don't actually, and I learned this from this chick Mariah that I used to see because she was quite intense. She's like, well, they don't care. I mean, like, we're supposed to charge for it, but like, they don't. We can give them out too if we want. Like,
Right.
We can give them to whoever we want. You know, they don't really track it. Like, we're not waitresses. We're like that's like it's like one of the things we do, but like our main thing is to keep you safe and keep everything
Right.
aligned. Like this is just extra. Like
make sure people aren't like screaming and starting fights on planes.
Yeah, exactly.
I've always wanted to start a fight on a plane. To get kicked off a plane.
I think it's like a federal offense, though. Isn't it? Yeah.
But it sounds fun.
Yeah. Dude, what is that? Didn't they used to have like that Sunny episode where they were just getting wasted on that Boss Hog plane or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dude, what? Did they used to fly like this? Like where they're just passing out beers left and right or whatever? I'm like, that's nuts. Like they were rowdy.
Where he sits there and he's like, okay, I'll take 6 beers.
Yeah.
Dude, that would be the best.
That would be. Dude, one of these, when I'm rich, we'll fly private somewhere, and that would be like a fun experience to just be getting royally fucked up, just hanging out in like a big cabin where everybody's just chilling and what's up, Russell?
Dude, like pull one of those where you're sitting there, like, yeah, I'll take a bottle of champagne, please. Like popping it on the plane. Dude, that would be so fun.
Dude, how about when I pop the champagne at your wedding?
Goes all over the leather couch.
Dude, that was so like I know that like of all the people, I'm always the gamble. And sometimes I'm like, dude, you gotta get your shit together. You can't always be the one that's expected to fuck up. Like that's a problem when everybody's like, oh, if anybody's gonna fuck up, it's gonna be Josh. And I'm like, damn it. But so I'm like going into it, I'm like, I'm not gonna fuck anything up. I'm like, I'm sober. I get in, start opening the champagne. I'm like, they're like, hey, you gotta be careful. I'm like, dude, I do this all the time. Like I'm a bartender. But those fucking plastic caps, I swear to God. We don't have those at work, but I do hate those so much. But I'm just twisting and twisting. I'm like, it is not. I'm like, God damn. I'm just like, and then all of a sudden, just bah!
Yeah.
All over. I was like, God damn it.
So I'm in the other room, like, so I like had like printed out my vows, but then we had our vow books, right? And so I was like in the other room, like trying to like write them out, and I had to keep taking breaks just because like I'm like starting to shake, and I was like, man, if I can't like read these as I'm up there, like this is gonna go so bad. So I had to keep taking breaks. And then all of a sudden I'm like back in there and I'm just about to finish. And I hear Hannah and Ivy go, Josh, don't make a mess. Just don't make a mess. And all of a sudden I just hear someone yell, Josh! And you're just laughing. And so I come out after finishing my vows, and
I was
I'm
trying
just
to get it
like,
cleaned up before you saw.
like I see you just down on your knees, like just patting down the couch, and you're like, dude, it's okay. It'll dry. I promise.
I mean, it is like obviously I have a leather couch. I'm like, shit will clean off,
Oh,
but
right.
it does take some work to.
But so then I'm like, we'll just get it later. And then everyone left. And then I'm like, well, dude, I can't sleep now. Like adrenaline's still running. Like then like we're also sitting there and like the bed that we were in was just fucking terrible. And I was
Oh,
like,
really?
I'm gonna explore a little bit. Like, and I found like the leather cleaner. And I was like, so this has happened before. We're just gonna clean the couch. It'll be fine.
You love playing housewife.
What I do best.
Yeah.
Well, one of the best things I do.
Yeah.
That and drink beer.
One of.
Pretty good at that.
I do like drinking beer. I do have some White Claws too, if you want. I know you're a claw guy these days too.
Ain't no laws, man.
Ain't none.
You can do whatever you want on claws.
I'm
That's not true, kids. Don't do that.
trying to think of a rhyme with Coors Light. Coors Light, whores right. I like my whores with my cores.
That would be a pretty good one.
Yeah. Dude, I was thinking of I want to the owner of Barbacoa, his name's Demi. He's a hoot. Like just a fucking hoot and a half. And
Yeah.
I met him when I first started working at gyms, and he loved me. He's like, dude, give me this new bartender, blah, blah, blah. But he loves to just get trashed, and so do I.
Yeah.
But so I've definitely been out drinking with him a couple times, and but I'm like, man, he would like that would be a cool place to work, do some video work for.
Mhm.
But I don't think he really has seen any of my video shit. So I kind of want to propose something next time I hang out with him. I don't just like do it for free, but like we should do like a just a nice little restaurant promo video, but like we'll feature like all your hot staff, like pouring some drinks and then maybe a hot rock.
Yeah.
So it's like fire and then hot staff, and then at the end it'd be like Barbacoa, the hottest, the hottest place in Boise, or like something.
Oh,
But
that's
it's just like all the
good.
hot girls and the hot rock are like the hottest place in Boise or something.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I think he would like that.
That would be fun.
But then I also thought of like before Cindy had the hot rock idea, but I was just gonna be like, we have the hottest girls in Boise.
That's funny. Back to what you asked me, I'm gonna ask you the same thing. 2025. What are your goals or resolutions?
I don't have a resolution. Well, actually, that's not true because I really want to do one podcast a week. So that's like a whole year commitment.
Okay.
And so I'm going to, and I already started doing the one angle like we talked about. So if I'm not cutting in between the 3 cameras, that always took me like 12 hours or like 8 to 12 hours. So that was a full day to day and a half of working on just getting the podcast out.
Right.
Versus now, after I upload them and like sync it, I just pull out the bathroom breaks, clip it, or like clip the ends in the beginning and bounce it. That takes a little bit of like weight loss now. So like it took me probably an hour. So I'm like cutting out like 11 and 12 hours, and so I can get podcasts out.
Right. A lot better.
A lot better. Now with clips, I would like to put more clips out, and that's I'm gonna use AI hopefully. But so that's like my year goal, and then I am going to do. I think we talked about this yesterday, but I'm starting 75 hard tomorrow. So
are you gonna for sure do 75
going
hard, or are you
I'm
gonna go
going
75
hard.
soft?
I'm going hard.
All right.
I decided.
So for the viewers and the listeners that don't know what 75 hard is,
Yeah. So this podcast will come out a few days after I've already started. I'm starting tomorrow. So
yeah.
hopefully if I stick to my schedule, the podcast will come out on Mondays. I'm gonna use Fridays mostly to edit podcast or like get it ready, and then everything will be uploaded by Saturday. That gives me a whole extra day for complications if complications arise, because that happened a lot.
Right.
And then yeah, it'll be just published on Monday morning, like automatically. Anyway, so 75 hard is 75 days of you choose a diet. And mine, I believe I'm just gonna do like a keto adapted. I'm still trying to gain weight, so I want to put like a goal of how much I want to gain over the 75s.
Okay.
So I'm gonna probably put for like 20, maybe 15 pounds. I gotta calculate out what's reasonable. I've been trying to gain since October, but
Yeah.
I'm up 12 pounds. But
That's not
I
bad.
wanna put up another 20, I think. 15
Yeah.
to 20. But so that I have to do like a keto adapted because I'll lose too much weight if I just do strict keto.
Yeah.
But probably no sugar, no alcohol, absolutely no alcohol. That's the main reason I first wanted to look into it. And then it's 2 a day workouts, one inside, one outside. And at first I was like, dude, I'm not going to do the outside one. I'm just going to do 2 inside.
Yeah.
And then I was listening to the guy's podcast about it, and he's like, it's supposed to be inconvenient. This isn't about like, this isn't a fitness thing. It's about mental fortitude, and it's supposed to like force you to do things and do the hard things,
Right.
and then you realize you can still figure it out. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go start running outside, and it'll be like cold, and it'll be whatever. So that the diet, the 2 a day workout. Um, what else is there? Oh, a gallon of water a day. A progress picture every day, and I think there's one other thing. But I'm going to add. I want to start doing a live video a day.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, I've got to work on this today to set up my YouTube live. And then so for like 10 minutes, I'm just going to jump on and fucking practice talking.
Yeah.
Which
Is it going to be just random talking, or are you
Yeah.
going to like also like play something, or like
I mean, I guess
what
I
is
could
it? What
play.
is your goal?
My goal
like,
is
for
just
the
to,
10 minutes.
My goal is to, if you do YouTube live, and my buddy Mick had the idea, he's like, why don't you try this out? Because I think you would bring people like eyeballs onto the channel,
Mm-hmm.
and then the channel has the podcast. So I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. And he's like, yeah, I watch sports channels, and it's just like they get on every day and they just talk about like whatever's happening, whatever's going on.
Oh yeah.
But I'm a talker, like, and I was like, man, it sounds daunting to just sit and talk to a camera with no goal in mind, and just start it, be like, all right, today, or maybe I look at the news or like see something funny and talk about it. But it's just like, other than that, it's like I don't really have an agenda other than just talking and getting good at talking about whatever.
Yeah.
Like Bill Burr does that, just has his podcast, turns it on, and he just starts ranting. And
Yeah.
I mean, he goes for like an hour and a half. But I also noticed, like, when I go to this therapist, and I mean, dude, as soon as I sit down, she's like, so how's it been? I'm like, "Rap," and I fucking go. And I mean, like, dude, I can go for an hour, like, just no problem, and just talk about life. So I know I can do it, but it is weird when you're just like nobody in the room. You're sitting. I'm like, I'm probably gonna print out a picture of my therapist and put it right behind the camera. I'm like, well, so
you guys start taking pictures of your friends and just putting them behind the camera so that way you can talk to them.
Yeah, but I do want to, and so then when you can do it live, and then like when you cut it, it just becomes a video on your YouTube. And you can add thumbs later if you want. I'll probably do that eventually, but that's the kind of shit that would like stop me from doing it, is like the perfectionism of, oh, you got a title, you got to do it. I'm like, fuck, just start doing shit.
Yeah, just put it up and be done.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll get there, but I want to get that habit going, and then I want to see how much that will affect my channel over 75 days.
Right.
But also, like, yeah, I mean, I've done like the 100-day sober before. I've done 2 different like drinking contracts where I limited it. And so I'm like, just on 75 days, it's 2.5 months. My hesitation was the podcast. Like, fuck, dude, I like to drink on the podcast.
Right.
I like to drink with my friends. But I'm like, dude, I could still drink with my friends and have some non-alcoholic beers, and I don't think they're gonna mind that much.
Right.
And I think the audience is not gonna mind that I don't get so fucking trash.
That's a lot. It's a lot of lofty goals.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good to have that goal in mind to go into it with doing 75 hard.
It's daunting. It really is. But I wouldn't have done it if I hadn't already done those other things.
Right.
Like, knowing that I can do those other things. I mean, I go to the gym most days, and I go to the gym more often when I'm not drinking.
Right.
So like cutting out the drinking will give me a lot of time and energy.
Yeah.
So then I do think I will be able to pull off that. And I don't even work that much. I work 2 shifts at the bar and then photo video here and there. But so I know, like, I can afford the time to do it.
Right.
It's just more of like it's a little annoying. It's pretty annoying doing the separated workout. Like I just want to get it all done. I'll do an hour and a half all at once if I can. But I was originally gonna do that. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna follow this thing the whole way.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I thought about, but it's so hard just sometimes. Like the two I wanted to do, but like now because we're going to Vegas, like I wanted to like do like the 75 software. It's just again like hard on a diet, like really hard about like minimizing the no sugar, like and then like the no drinking unless there's like a special occasion or like a special event. But like I sit there and I'm like, I also just enjoy like sitting there with my friends or like family members and having a beer or two, just because like that social interaction is like what I like crave and what I long for. And then I go and I sit at the bar, everybody else is sitting there drinking, and I'm like, man, it's like that's it. Like, because I remember doing like the 40 days of no drinking, and like I made it like 22 days with absolutely no drinking and no non-alcoholic
Yeah, I remember
beers,
that.
no nothing. And I noticed like my body, like it was good, but it was also bad because like all of a sudden I'm like, man, like I'm more irritable. Like I'm like, gosh, like, am I fucking annoying? Like, like, are other people annoying? Like, I like,
They're annoying.
I I feel less engaged into some of these conversations, and I'm like, dude, there's no way I should be like less engaged into some of these conversations when I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
But like, dude, you get some of those people, and I'm just like, what the fuck are we talking about for like the last 10 minutes? Like,
see, so people that would argue for these programs would be like, yeah, these are not the people you need to hang out with. You're like, if you can't even have an interesting conversation with them if you're not drunk, then they're dummies.
But it's like, I mean, that's fair. But it's like most people, like I can also have a conversation with without being like without drinking.
Yeah.
But like then there's again, you get some random people that come in and all of a sudden you're just like,
yeah,
dude, I need a shot. Like,
yeah, for sure. Dude, I feel that so much.
It's when I come in.
My issue, yeah.
Oh, Ian's here. Let's get the shots going.
Dude, it is crazy for those who listen. This is just like a side note, but I mean, I'm sure most people listen already know our friendship. It's like, dude, I met this guy across from my bar. Like, just came in, was talking to Ivy about sports, and I was like, oh, sports conversations? I didn't know anything about it, but we just started kicking it. You know, I think we became friends mostly because you tipped me a lot, and so that made me like you. And then
paying for friends.
Yeah,
Let's
go. See, it's actually a good move. He got a quality friend with that purchase.
People, if you don't have friends, the best way to do it, just tip your bartenders better.
Yeah, and most likely you're gonna find a cool bartender. I think 80% of your bartenders, at least the places I go, are cool. You always have one or two. You're like, dude, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
But I don't normally go to those bars, or it's like I'd like to go to a bar that has a cool bartender.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
chill. So yeah, make friends with your bartender. He's probably a cool guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we started hanging out, and it was one of those things where it's just like, yeah, like I like hanging out with you.
Yeah, and it is true. Though, back to the sober and drinking conversation. Like I can't stand you sober, and probably vice versa. So that's why we drink together.
Cheers.
Hey.
But yeah, no, dude, I remember like just a lot of the other stuff that we did that also wasn't like fully associated with drinking, like going out, like and
the hikes.
Yeah, the hikes.
Tennis.
Well, I remember having to go back and get your car the one day after like everything shut down for COVID.
Yeah.
And I remember like riding your bike, you're riding your longboard, and we're like, how are we gonna get like the bike in the car? And you're like, I don't know, we'll figure it out. So we drove your car home. I'm like sitting in the front seat holding your tire. And the bike's still like partially out the back. And we're like, we got this. And we got back and you're like, I'm a little surprised that worked.
Yeah. Dude,
That was so fun.
I don't think I told this story yet on the podcast, so I think I told you this already. But speaking of the bike, so I bought into this e-bike,
Yeah.
and now I'm perfect today. I still have it at my house because she's still practicing riding it. She's a little uncomfortable on it. It's a little bigger than she's used to, and then it's a little faster. So
Yeah.
we're just been practicing riding a little bit. But so I still have it at my house, and so I'll fast forward the story. After the 2 day, I had left my car at the strip club for 2 days, and so eventually I'm like, I gotta go get my car. And
Right.
so I ride the e-bike over. I should just rode my other bike because it fits in my car the whole way. But I was like, I don't know if the e-bike's gonna fit, but we'll try it out. So
Yeah.
ride it over, and then I get the e-bike in, and it doesn't fit the whole way, so I have it hanging out the back. And I was like, I think if I go slow enough, it'll be fine. I started to pull out and immediately slides like down. I was like, oh fuck! Then pull back in. So I take my jumper cable and I wrap it around the wheel like that, pull it tight, and then drive back. So,
Dude, that is the jankiest thing I've heard. I don't have a bungee cord. I don't have any rope or anything, so
No.
I'm just gonna use my jumper cable.
Probably don't work anymore, so like fucked them up. But yeah, so that's like the very end. But we had me and Ryan had made some music on Sunday. We were drinking all day, working on the song, and then I hit up Cinda after. I was like, "What are you doing?" So I pick her up. We end up going to Quinn's and having a couple shots, and I got like more fucked up than I was planning on. And then meet up with Jeremy there. We all go over to the strip club, but I don't really remember it, and Cinda doesn't remember it, and the only person who remembers it is Jeremy. So we have to find out later what happened. But Ubered home. Good job, Josh. We're home.
Good job.
So I'll leave my car at the strip club. So we wake up the next morning, kind of hungover, and I had worked so much the week before. So I'm like kind of looking at my dad, like, dude, I'm fuck off. You know, we fucked off last night, and then I'm just like, I'm in fuck off mode. So I realized it's Monday, and the Blue Bench Brunchette has bottomless mimosas on Mondays, and they're still. We checked to see if they're still open because all the boomer places are closing down. So they are. I was like, "You want to go get bottomless mimosa?" She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "How are we gonna get there?" I was like, "I'll ride you on my bike." And so
on the e-bike.
Yeah. So I was like, and this is the first time we had done it, but I was like, dude, I think I could put you on the seat and then I'll just stand up. And since I don't need to pedal, I can just, pull the throttle.
Right.
So, and it's pretty, like, it's a good size. So, like, sturdy, it's easier to do that on the e-bike than, say, my road bike or something.
Right.
So we're getting ready. And then she's like, babe, have you seen my shoe? And I was like,
I remember this.
Yeah. So we're looking around. I'm like throwing the sheets off, like scouring everywhere. And I was like, did we have it here? Or is there a point last night you lost it? And it was like starting to come back that maybe she lost it last night. We called Jeremy and he's just like, you don't remember? He's like, dude, we got kicked out of the strip club because Cindy didn't have a shoe. And so she said, and I was like, did they let us in without a shoe? And he's like, I don't really know. Like she might have been able to slip past them without a shoe, but like, then is it at like the Quinn still? Did it go? It wasn't in my car, and I was like, did you get like a private dance and like lose it in the corner? Like whatever. Like, but whatever. She's walking around with one shoe, and they're like, if she doesn't find her shoe, we have to go. And like, so we ended up getting kicked out. So. All that said, we still don't have a shoe. So she has one shoe. So we ended up grocery bagging her feet, and like putting rubber bands on. And because there's a little snow outside, it looks like light dusting. So then she's outside with 2 bags on her feet. And we ride up to the youth ranch, the thrift shop, go in with bags on her feet, buy some shoes, get her in shoes, come back here, drop off the shit that we bought, and then go to get mimosas and get fucked up. But I have a dope photo of her with bags on her feet. And then we were fucking around. We got drunk all day. And I was like, reminds me of that song, J's on My Feet. It was like, bags on my feet.
Bags on my feet.
So we made this little like music video with her jumping around and bags on her feet. Which I still haven't released yet because it's on my friend Heather's computer because I didn't have my computer because it was my car. So I used hers.
Right.
And so now I still don't have the video. But.
Oh, that's funny. I gotta pee real quick.
Yeah, pee break. High West time, baby.
Oh yeah. So High West is still one of my favorite whiskeys, just because
they're Park City, right?
Yeah,
yeah, I've been there.
Dude, I've been to their distillery. It's so fun. Like
it's nice.
So we ended up not being able to do their tour because we got there a little late.
Oh, fine.
But dude, it was so fun, and I'm like, I just really enjoyed it.
Wait, I just want to check to make sure it's recording. Yeah, this one doesn't have like the recording light on.
Oh.
Even though you can see it, but it would show you that even if it wasn't recording.
Oh.
So make sure.
So you have to check the camera.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I do like that screen is coming in handy. That's one of my newer purchases. We'll use it for me and Michael when we were filming, using it for like on the job. Cause like he's like, I need something bigger to look at while you're filming, so I can make sure, you know.
Right.
And then I have like a 25-foot cable, and he just pulls it around, and he's like super meticulous about just every little piece of like background thing is perfectly placed. He's very, very OCD. Really? But in a good way. Like I mean, it takes a long time, but it's just like everything is like everything is with intention, you know,
right,
when he's filming something. So, which is cool.
You remember when you first started? You had just the one camera, and then you didn't have like the back and forth. You didn't have this. You didn't have the lights. Didn't have the camera. Didn't have the mic. Well, like we had my like cheap
that little mic. Yeah,
Dude,
these mics are my favorite. So far of all the things that I've done. I used to just use the box, but depending on what you're using, it like starts rubbing. And that'll still happen. Ideally, if you can get one of those like mics like above the head that's right here,
yeah,
it's good. But because of the wide angle, it has to be high enough,
right? And it's not gonna catch absolutely everything up top,
right?
Unless like you're yelling, you know.
Well, and this one is just more for backup in case this one goes out or whatever.
Right.
But it'll sound way like not nearly as good. It'll be like kind of roomy and echoey a bit.
It sounds like you're like kind of like the underwater kind of feeling.
Ish, yeah. But yeah, man, I think my video quality was also real shit because I was running. I was filming onto my computer, and my computer was only recording in like 1080. I didn't have enough light, so I was like boosting it, so it was like super grainy.
Yeah.
So all my first like clips were pretty grainy and shit. But yeah, I mean, it's
and now look at you. Number what, 40, 41?
Mm-hmm.
Look at you.
41.
You've adapted. You've gotten better along the way.
Yeah. And then like I said, now I'm dropping back some of my perfectionism, which is tough. Yeah. It's like really hard for me to let go of that. But it's like, dude, putting one a week out is better than putting out one a month that's perfect. I mean, like it's never perfect anyway. And like, and the key to be successful is to be consistent and do it a long time, over and over and over. So the only way you're gonna do that is if you do more and more and more of them, you know.
Right. Well, when you look at all like everybody else that like puts out like a podcast a week, though, right? They're not perfect. They're not 100%. They're not super high quality. Like, and that's hard with, you know, being a perfectionist and wanting to do really well at it. Is you gotta be like, I want to get to 90%. 90% is good enough. Yeah. Even though that last 10%, I could spend another 2-3 hours on, and it looks so good. But like, is that like extra several hours worth that 10%?
Yeah, dude, releasing control to the AI clips.
Yeah,
that I'll probably do. That's gonna be hard for me because there's things where I'm like, oh, I wish I could move that part there, or it's like the look of the caption is like, I don't love that. I wish I had my own look, but then that's 20-30 more minutes on just a 15-second clip that I spend, and then like what if putting my logo on or something like that. And I'm like, is all those things necessary? No, I like them, yes, but would you get more out if you let go of that?
Right.
Yes, so that's gonna be hard for me, but I'm also gonna do that with music, so I wanna start making music this year. That's
Yeah.
not like a resolution, I'd say, but it's like something I'm wanting to lean into again.
Yeah.
And I've talked to my buddy Joe. I think you met him
Mhm.
before. He's been on the pod. Talked to Jeremy about this, and I was just like, dude, us musicians, like we don't release anything because it's just not there yet. And
Mhm.
then, another couple weeks go by and you might work on the song again. You're like, yeah, no, I need to bring in the drummer. We need to redo those drums and we need to redo this. And 3 years later, we still haven't released anything. And I was always guilty of it. I know Joe is, I know Jeremy is. Most musicians are like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you gotta just put something down and release it. Like it doesn't even have to be a full song. Like release the chorus, put it on
Right.
SoundCloud, put it on TikTok, whatever, release it. If you get good reception on it or something blows up for you, you can rewrite the song or you can rehash it later. You can
Right.
re-record it later, make it better, make a new release of it. But
Well, even just like releasing something that's raw, right? Like I think if you release something that's raw and people like it, then it's like, okay, then I like want to spend more time on it, right? Whereas like if you spend like a couple weeks trying to write a song and then you release it and then you don't get as many views or you just don't get the same, reception for it. And then you're like, well, shit, I spent all that time. Well, then that just makes you feel more negative about it. But if you release something that may be a little uncut, or like you said, just do a chorus and you get good reception for it, it's going to be like, well, hell, like
I should
now
keep working on this.
I want to keep putting it together.
Yeah. Let me, I just make sure that this yeah.
Do you want me to pin it down here?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
It was just starting to curl in, and I was like, "Oh, it might be starting to scrape."
Test 1 2. Test 1 2.
Testy, testy, 1 2.
Can you hear me now?
But yeah,
but I feel like artists in general, like whether you make music, you do photos, you paint pictures, you sculpt, or even writing in general. I mean, there's so many unreleased works of people, especially after they get posted after like they die. That dude,
Mac Miller's coming out with a new album, right?
Balloonerism, yeah.
Well, his conglomerate or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
when's that coming?
The 15th.
Oh shit! You excited?
Oh, so excited. So
I've started listening more Mac Miller just because of you. I never really listened to him, but
yeah.
I'm like, Ian has good taste in music. I should check.
Yeah, it's interesting to go into that of, man, this thing's gonna be like after he died, it's gonna be something that he didn't actually produce because he ended up going through and being like, no, we need to add this part of the piano in there. We wanna add this for these type of instrumentals in there. We want to break this up. We want to put in like this, like this little part of the song that shows that the song's not done. And that like, especially like Swimming in Circles, right? So you had Swimming, which is one album, Circles is the other album. And if you listen to the very first part of Swimming and the very last song in Circles, they have the exact same tone that he ends on in Circles back to Swimming. And it's like, well, he purposely did that.
Yeah.
And because he wanted it to be put together.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited. I'm a little nervous about like what they're gonna make of his. Is it actually his or is it just this one
right
thing that they're putting out?
Yeah, or are they trying to put out and maybe all the parts weren't written, but they're trying to write stuff that sounds like him. Hopefully they get it
right
to his style. What if they don't? Yeah.
Well, in the course of his 15 years plus of writing music. I mean, he was writing music as a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, really, really young. And then, I mean, 15, 16 years old, he's just writing these random ass, like, mixtape songs that just kind of crap. But, like, they were good. And then he got better and better and better.
Yeah.
And then you got to see, like, a lot more of his, like, emotional side. You got to see a lot more of who he wanted everyone to see, and for everyone like to see his struggles, so that way you knew you weren't alone. It was super cool, like to see that and to see just the change in his life and the ebbs and
Yeah.
flows. And I mean, you see like a lot of artists now, like they're a little bit more vulnerable. That's great. But then you also see just the ones that are just putting out like catchy tunes and poppy tunes that are geared more towards like
Right.
TikTok and like Instagram reels that people can like reuse the clips for. And it's like, well, that's cool, but like make make a good song. Make an
Yeah.
emotional song. A song that's gonna make me
Well, I like
start crying.
I yeah. As somebody who only ever made that kind of music, I wanna make more fun shit now, even though my entire catalog, I don't know how much I don't think you've heard that much of my music, but remember when I asked you, I was like, "Hey, have you heard this band, Fires of France?" And I sent it to you?
Yeah.
That was me.
No, it
Yeah.
wasn't. Was it really?
Yeah. But you're like, "Oh, I haven't listened to it yet." And I was just like, I didn't wanna tell you, I just wanted to see if you would listen to it and then if you had any sort of response.
It was good.
It's pretty, like, sad boy music. Like, and
You know me. You know
all
I love the
I
sad
know.
boy.
So all my music that I've ever written, for the most part, was all sad boy music, and like
Yeah.
grew up writing emo shit, and just like I was always sad. And then as I got happier, I stopped writing as much because I was just like, well, I don't want to write. I'm like, I want to go do stuff with my friends. I'm happy, like. Um, but as I go back to music again, I want to write a culmination. But what I appreciate about Mac Miller is he has some music that's just fun and fucking bitches and doing
Yeah.
fun shit. And then but he also shows his other side, and it's like it's showing like that, like we are not just singular. It's like, I mean, you know me, you. Like we have a fun side, we have a dark side, we have a sad side, we have an intellectual side. Like that we have a lot going on and up here, but so it's like I want to be able to put out some music that's fucking fun and TikToky, and I want to I love when artists that are fun have at least 2 or 3 songs that are like, oh shit, you just fucked me up
These
here,
these are
like
emotional. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm like, if you don't have that at all, like then there's no depth. So I like it's kind of like Cinda has a really good saying where she's like, I like to swim in both sides of the pool. So, like I'm a little vain, but I'm also deep. So it's
Yeah.
like sometimes it's cool to just be over in the shallow and just fucking around, we're fucking bitches, getting housed, doing drugs, and then sometimes you need to get real like deep and intimate with friendships, relationships, and the
Right.
struggle of life. Like both are important, but
Well, it's like I remember the one night you and I were back at your apartment and we were listening to 21 Pilots.
yeah,
Dude, some songs are just so freaking catchy
yeah,
and they're so good. And then you listen to a couple of them and you're like, ooh, ooh, man,
yeah.
like
They're pretty
that
deep.
got me,
Yeah.
and
They're one of
I
my favorite bands still to listen to when I'm tripping. Oh
yeah.
my god.
Well, I think that's one of the other things too that like you're kind of starting to see like this back and forth of like artists also don't want to be stuck in just one genre or just
Sure.
one sad or happy or just
Yeah.
club music.
Club
Like
music, yeah.
they want to go through like the entirety of it.
Yeah.
Um like I find it funny that like Post Malone, dude, like he went from one here to here to here to here to
Yeah.
here and it's all up and down and even in his last album, dude. Like you've
Country
got
one?
yeah,
Yeah.
you've got certain ones that are just like really poppy, or you've got them to be like really country, like the one with Hank Williams. Like, dude, that's super,
I don't think
super
I don't really
country.
listen to or I haven't listened to any of his country shit. I probably will, but
But then you have the Morgan Wallen, and then you have Blake Shelton as well that are
yeah.
more of like the poppy country, but then they're used like throughout TikTok like crazy.
Yeah.
And then like you get to a couple of his last songs and you're like, oh, oh,
Yeah.
you got me there.
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic song, great lyrics, great melody to it, and it just flows really well. But it's so weird to see that because, again, I feel like a lot of artists like tend to shy away from that, shy
Yeah.
away from like, I want to go jump into another genre. I want to
Right.
go
That's scary.
try something different, and hopefully it works, but
Mhm.
maybe it won't. But I'm gonna still go for it.
I love it. I mean, I really do love the versatility. I think it's good for big artists to get bigger because you're pulling from all, you really want to be a massive artist like
Yeah.
Taylor has her country fans and her pop fans and all that stuff. But I don't like those are big problems, like when you're that big. But I
Yeah.
still like it as a small, like just indie person making music because like I mean I play in this band with Jeremy and most of it is pretty. I mean I guess Americana rock, kind of folk rock. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just it has like a blues rock feel to it, and I really like playing in it. But that's not the stuff I write, and he we talk about this because he's like I'm more of like rock and roll and this like vibe, but I love your pop sensibilities. I've always been more pop, like I
Yeah.
just like a little bit more bubblegummy, But with but even in pop, like I'm still more indie than like a pop artist or whatever. But I like the idea of like I want to write something that's super hard, like punk. And
Yeah.
then I also I want to do some hip hop. I've been doing some hip hop with Ryan. And then I'm like I've never rapped, but I'm like I'm gonna lay down a couple verses, just see what the fuck's up.
Yeah.
And then, but I also like I love making some acoustic music, and then I love making some rock and roll, and just like so. I don't think you have to like. It kind of used to be where you'd have to be like, oh yeah, we are this,
Right.
and that's what I liked about 21 Pilots when they're just like, we go where we want to. They say this
Right.
is a highway. They're like that song, but it's like the epitome of who they are.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, fuck that. Like, we're gonna rap this song. We're gonna play rock and roll on this record. We're gonna play pop music on this next one. We'll do whatever we want.
Well, I think I think you hit it on the head though too, is that you look at the versatility of an artist, right? You don't want to be just on like one genre forever, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, you look at you look at a lot of the people that like are super super big in all of music, right? Did they really stay to one genre? No. I mean, they ended up doing different things because again, it wasn't even also just to try and get people. Like it was just one of those where,
Stretch yourself.
right, I
Yeah.
want to try something different.
Yeah.
I want to try something new.
Yeah.
And if people don't like it, cool.
Dude, one of my favorite examples is Childish Gambino.
Oh yeah.
Or even Donald Glover more as a whole. Because like not only does his music change, he has like a couple rap albums. He has his blues album. He has
Hmm.
Kauai, which is like Hawaiian like beach music.
Yep.
And then I don't know if it's came out with anything lately, but then he also has, oh, I direct television over here. Oh, I did stand up. Oh, I did a comedy show.
I did
Oh,
acting.
yeah, but like not just one act, he was in Girls, but he directed and acted in Atlanta.
Hmm.
He did a stand-up special. I mean, he's just like a guy. He's like, oh, I want to try that now. I want to try that now. I think that resonates so much with
Wasn't
me.
he also in what was it, Community?
Yeah, so that's where I discovered him was Community.
Like,
And I was like, oh, this guy's a rapper, and then like he was like a goofy, silly boy in
yeah.
Community, and then but then I listened to his rap, and I'm like, oh, he likes like just fucking bitches, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, he's way different like who he is in his raps, and then he has this line in his stand-up comedy. Like I watched his special, and he's not even really a stand-up comedian, but he did it for a bit just to like try it out, right?
Right.
But he's just like, how many here like are here from Community? Like, yeah. He's like, yeah, it's a surprise, and I'm all like, dicks. I'm like, that's pretty funny. But a
Yeah.
lot of comedians have that, like where they play a certain role in a show and they get big for that, but they're way more vulgar in
Yeah.
like their comedy or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just people in general. Like, again, you get stuck in your ways and you do like the same thing like forever, right?
Yeah.
Like that's all people are gonna know you for. But if you like step out and do this, you step out and do that, like you have different versatility to like what you do and who you are. Like, dude, you're gonna have more friends. You're gonna have more people that like ask you to like help do stuff and to like be a part of things, right? Like if I'm only good at like drinking beer and engineering, like that's a that's a pretty small group.
Yeah.
But like if it's
I don't know. Drinking beer is a pretty big group.
well,
You can make a lot of friends drinking beer.
That's a fair statement. But you know what I mean. But like, but you know, if you're only a musician, right? If you're only, you know, an accountant, right? You only like play one bar game, right? Like your set of friends, your set of like group that you hang out with is really small. But if you go and you try all these other things, even in careers, I mean, I know a lot of people that go, oh, I only stay at a job for 3 to 5 years total. And then I'm going to switch to go do something different, to go do something new. I think that's a great mentality and that's a great thing because at some point you want to do something different because that also broadens your scope of who you are, what you do and what you're known for, right? You're not known for just doing this one job for 40 years.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I think artists also do that too, right? You may only just start writing music, but maybe you have that creative side where you want to go and like you're doing right now, podcasting. You're also going to start doing your live videos. Like you're doing the videography, right? Like you're doing all these extra things just because again, you have that creative sense, right? And a lot of people are going to know you as the creative person, right? But then there's other people that know you as, oh, you're Josh the bartender.
Yeah.
Right. I know you as, you know, my best man at my wedding, one of my best friends, like a guy that's helped me through a lot. Right. And like knowing that you have more than just one thing is great. Having a plethora of things to be known by is the coolest thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I can live a different way. I've constantly battled myself with, you know, like when I started doing photo videos, like pick a niche. Everyone's like, pick a niche. Alex Ramosi, who's one of like my business idols, he's just like niches get riches. Pick a niche. You know, like that's how you make money. And I know this to be true. I just can't. And I'm like, yeah, but I get bored. I just don't want to do just the one thing. I'm like, yeah, but what about that? If I were to just podcast, I mean, like, yes, I would probably be successful quicker and just do this. But I'm like, yeah, but I also want to make some music. Fuck, I want to try this stand-up comedy. I want to start my OnlyFans. Like, what the fuck? But like, there's just all these little, and as soon as somebody brings up another creative like idea, you know, or they'll be like, "Hey, you want to work on this one?" Dude, yeah, that sounds awesome. Like with the music video I did with Jeremy, it's just like it's I'm not getting paid for it, but I'm like, dude, this sounds awesome. Well, I'm in the band too. It sounds awesome that I can get to do this. It was a lot of work, but
it's just fun.
If I turn it down just because, for what? Because no, my niche is this. You know, I just can't do it. So it is probably going to take me a lot longer to be successful, and I'm like trying to get comfortable with that. But at the same time, I can't just do one thing. Like I don't know how to do that. I can't date one girl. I can't eat one food. I can't drink one beer. You know, like I have to try all the stuff. And like that's just like how I'm programmed. And some other people can do that, you know, like good for them. But just not me.
Yeah, but I mean, in that same fashion though, too, right? Like when you do the same thing over and over and over and over again, right? you end up putting yourself into, you know, this idea of being content, right? And you know, I've thought about this for, you know, the last 10 years. You know, I've been in Idaho for just under 10 years now. And I got really content. Yeah. I got really content with like, this is what I'm going to do for my life. This is who I am for my life. This is it for my life. This is it. And, you know, that level of content is good because it's just, it's a sense of comfort, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is my life. This is where I'm at. This is it. But then you also start looking back, and I started looking back on it. And this was probably, you know, 5 years ago. I'm sitting there going, okay, this is my life. I'm content. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, if I'm content, I feel like that's just, to me, being mediocre, right? I want to do something different. I want to step out and I want to continue to do these things. I want to have challenges. I want to have struggles. I want to, be struggling, but also be successful in overcoming my stress, like
Yeah.
my pitfalls, right? Being married is one that, I think is a great thing of, not being content, right?
Yeah, it's a new challenge.
I think, just when you get into a relationship and marriage, it's one of those where it's like, oh, like it's content, like they're with me, I'm with them. Yeah, that's it. Well, like it's not that. Like every day should be being outside of that little bit of comfort, right? I wanna have the ups and downs. I wanna have the struggles. I wanna have the, oh, you wanna go do this. Well, I wanna go do this. And having that conversation and not being content and just being like, yeah, I'm a pushover and we're just
Yeah.
gonna go do everything that you want to do. I'm gonna go do everything, whatever you say. It's not fun. But like when you sit there and you're like, no, I wanna go out on a limb. I wanna go try something a little different. Hey, I wanna go buy a house.
Yeah.
Having that spot of going outside of your comfort zone and being content is a great thing. And you never know unless you get outside of that comfort zone
Yeah.
what you're made of and who you are. Because I think it's so easy just to be like, okay, I make, $60,000 a year. I'm content. I can pay my bills. I can do this. I can do this. And I'm going to do that for the rest of my life. Well, what happens if you take a step outside of that and you can start making like $100,000
Right.
and you like can have a better life? You can provide so much more than like what you had before.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people tend to think, oh, well, I've got a good enough job. Like I have my routine. I do this for, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's it. Like, dude, that's just got to get so monotonous and suck.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and there's like, I mean, I think there's different lifestyles because, I mean, I talk about this a lot, like just with my friends and Cinda, my sister and stuff. But like, there is different lifestyles where you have like somebody like my sister Tara, who's very content with a very simple, kind of boring life,
mhm.
but very happy. I want to knock on it, but I can't because she's probably happier than me. I mean, she is just like she has. I don't know if it's rubbing, but it's sure.
Here, hold on.
I
No way, it's not rubbing.
There you go. Yeah, but now you look silly.
Story of my life. I always look silly.
Fair enough. Actually, you're wearing black, so it's pretty good. If you don't
Black on black on black, baby.
black on black.
On white.
Dude, did you see that picture I posted? Where, it's like when the beard is coming in, and I was like, they say white is right. I got the whites coming in.
Yes.
And this black girl that I'm friends with on Facebook, she was just like, I hope we're talking about the hair. But I knew that she understood that I was kidding, like, fucking around because she like had a like winky face, and I was like, oh yeah, for sure.
That's funny.
I'm like, this is why I say this because it's fucking funny. Yeah, dude. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so like Tara is my middle sister, and she's just like very content. Like redneck husband, just living life. But,
Yeah.
I mean, like very happy with that. So I do think that there's like a portion of the population that like, yeah, that's what they having just a simple life, family. We make enough money to pay the bills. We don't need a lot, whatever. And there's somebody, Jim Jeffries, actually, I think the comedian talks about it, and he's just like, oh, he's like, they tell us to reach for the stars, and he has this like bit about it. I forget exactly how it goes, but he's just like, dude, like you end up being miserable because it doesn't matter how much you achieve. like once you realize that you can be bigger than like more successful than what you were, you're like, oh, well, I can be bigger than what I am now. And like, and so then it's like, then you're just constantly chasing. So that's the
Right.
other extreme. Um, I find myself wanting to find the happy medium of like being content with what you have whilst also like realizing you are meant for more. So like you like let's see what you're made of. Like that's part of the 75 hard is it's just like, can you do it? You know,
Right.
it's just like, are you a man who can take a challenge that, and I actually thrive on challenges, and that's what I discovered with like the no drinking thing. I was like, oh, this helped me a lot. And like I start getting competitive with
Yeah.
myself where I'm like, oh no, dude, I've told everybody it's 90 days. I'm going fucking 90 days. Like I'm
Yeah.
not fucking quitting on this. And even with the 75 hard versus 75 soft, I was telling my regulars, the couple is Shane and Lauren, I think. They're the sports people.
Yeah.
They're super cool. But they were talking about they did 75 hard. And I was like, they were the ones that sold me on doing hard versus soft. And I was just like, yeah, I'm like,
Yeah. I remember sitting next to
yeah,
them when you
yeah.
were talking about it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I was just like, dude, part of me, like, just 75 soft just sounds like I'm being a little bitch. So, like, that was like my own self-talk being like, are you being a little bitch right now, Josh? Like, I'm like, are you just gonna go for it? And I have no problem with people who do 75 soft or like
Yeah.
just any sort of thing, right?
Right.
And I don't think it's for everybody because I'm like, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I mean, we'll see if I make it, but I mean, I think I will.
Yeah.
I have a strong belief in myself now, but like I built that confidence doing some of these other challenges and like cutting out drinking for 100 days that 2 or 3 years ago was a huge jump for me. Gave me so much confidence.
That was a $1,000 bet, right?
No, that was before I even did the $1,000 bet.
Oh, okay.
$1,000 bet I did this last year and the year before, but the year before that was 2022, and I did the no drinking, and it gave me so much confidence that that was like when I decided to quit Rudy's and
Mm.
jump full time into photos. It's just like, dude, I got this. I can do anything. You know, like if I can do this, I can do that. And like so,
Yeah.
it just like it felt like this big like push where I was like, dude, you can do whatever you put your mind to, and I felt like
Right.
very strong about that. So this will be another challenge for me. It's even harder than the last one, but it's like I know I did that. I'm like, I know that I like if I commit to something, I can do a thing. And 75 days isn't that long a time, you know. But I was like, it's still decent. I thought about doing like a 30-day thing
Yeah.
just to be like, I think that people that start, if they've never done challenges, start with 30, you know, or start with something a little smaller, just get that, you know, but it's like a positive reinforcement. Where I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I can do something hard.
Well, and they say that what after day 20 you can make it a habit,
yeah.
right? You know, and truthfully, I mean, you know, the nice thing is that you've done other challenges before,
Yeah.
and so it's not going to be easy. Like
No.
I'll make that clear, but I think it's easier
Yeah.
to like go into it and be like, okay, I've done these other things.
Yeah.
I have already, you know, tested how well I can do on these certain things. And I think that's great. It's just, again, I think again, that goes back into like being content, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's where I'm coming from too.
where people end up saying, well, like this is my day to day. This is my monotony of my life, right? But like, why not try and challenge yourself for something that's different, something that's more difficult, right? Because if we just end up just going and being like, okay, well, this is what I've done for the last 5 years, I'm going to do it for the next 5 years. So
Yeah.
at 10 years, you've never taken a challenge. You've never taken and tried to push yourself to something.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that's just going to make you miserable.
It really, at least for me, it does. And I think it does for a lot of people. But like, the more I am lazy, the more I just skate by or just
Mhm.
like, I'm just existing. I'm not actually building or creating or doing something of meaning. The more I do that, the more I just like, dude, what are you fucking doing? And I can do it for a little while. Like, sometimes I get burnt out on working too hard. I'm like, I need a break.
Sure.
Let's fuck off for a while.
Yeah,
but
sure.
then like after a little bit of fuck off, I'm like, I can feel myself start to get miserable. It's the
Yeah.
same with like, I mean, even going to the gym, I'm a gym rat. Like I go a lot. If I stop for like 2 weeks, I can feel my like mental depression start to be doop doop doop
Yeah,
doop
to drop
doop.
down.
Yeah, and it like so I need the physical challenge to boost my mental happiness. And maybe not everybody needs that, but like I know that I need it. Like Rogan talks about that. He's like, yeah, if I miss 2 days, he's like, I start getting a little sad.
Yeah.
Like, so I can feel the sad coming the longer I go without the gym. And it's like, I'm like, it, whether it's the dopamine or whatever, but like, that's great for me, you know,
Yeah.
like
The endorphins or
yeah,
something that you're getting.
right. And so the same with like a big, uh, physical and mental challenge.
Yeah.
It's just like, holy shit, I made it 14 days. Holy shit, 18 days. Holy shit, 20 days, 30 days, 40 days. You know, you're just like,
Yeah.
dude, I've got this. And like, normally about like 3 to 4 weeks into a challenge, and I'm just like, oh, dude, I'm locked in. I'm
Yeah.
like, no one will stray me. And I do have those like that's where I'm like, dude, I'm committed. And I think it's still like an ego thing that won't let me fail it. You know,
Yeah.
like you don't want to be known as the person who didn't do it.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think the ego, which can be too cocky at times, but it helps me in those moments. I'm like, no, you're not the motherfucker who quits.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're going over there. Like, so I'm just all of it. Like, then I'm just like, nope, going to the end. Like, I was playing that show with Jeremy, and people were like, dude, can we buy you a shot? I'm like, dude, fuck no, I already drank my 15.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, I'm not straying. I'm like, I'm 2 weeks out from being done, or a week out. Like, there's no way I'm failing this thing now.
Yeah. The fortitude to like get to the end and to accomplish your goal like outweighs the it's just one night.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, I think the other thing too that I love, and this is why like we're such good friends, is also I love the tenacity that you have. I think you no, seriously, I think if you didn't catch that, he goes, "Aw." No, I think it's one of those where like the tenacity that you had to go and start what you wanted to do as a creative is a huge leap, is a huge jump, right? It's terrifying. Yeah, but it's also the same thing like when you move to a new place, right?
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
That's very similar.
But you know, like if you did not have something going that you knew that you were going to struggle at, but it was either one way or the other. It's either a full success or a full failure, right? Yeah, you can go back if you need to, right? And I think one of the nice things is that yeah, you are back at Rudy's.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a failure though. I think that is one where you've also realized your successes, your pitfalls, and there's also to a point where you still have to have something that's relatively steady, and that is Rudy's. I mean, it's a great place. People love you, people know you, and I think people get so excited just to see you being there. It's not the oh, Josh is bartending. You know, I think it's people get so excited of oh, I get to see Josh. I get to see his jokes. I get to see a side that most people don't share, you know, the jokes and things like that. But you're also continuing to drive to something that you still want.
Yeah.
I think people, I think people tend to forget that, you know, just because things don't work out 100% perfect and it may feel like a partial step back, it may be a partial step back to take 2 steps forward.
Yeah.
You know, it's never one of those where people should think, okay, like I've got to do these things. I've got to make sure I'm good. I've got to make sure that everything keeps rolling forward because, you know, when you try to chase a goal or a dream or anything that you want to do in life, it's okay to take a step back and be like, hey, I still need to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
You know, and I think people tend to think, well, what if I don't have that safety net, right? And I think sometimes, you know, the big joke, we were talking about participation trophies. Dude,
Call back.
Unfortunately, you have to pull out a safety net at some point for certain things to achieve bigger and better things, to achieve greatness, right? I mean, Wayne Gretzky, right? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take,
Yeah.
right? And, I think a lot of times, a lot of people now are in that like mentality and in that state where they're like, ah, everything is okay. I have this goal, I have this vision, I have this dream, but I'm so scared to go take that leap of faith, to go
Right.
take that jump. And at some point, you got to go do it. I mean, how many of our friends now have started their own businesses?
Yeah.
Right. I
Dude,
mean,
so many of our friends have started businesses.
like, and it's a crazy leap of faith.
It's super scary.
And I love it. I love promoting them in their businesses. I love promoting anytime I can my friends doing what they love.
Yeah.
And it's one of those to me where it's like that is gonna that's gonna help them, but that also makes me happy to see them successful, right? They're going out on a limb, they're taking that leap of faith, and I think that's what sometimes like we now tend to forget is it's okay to take that leap of faith and fail, because if you don't take that leap of faith,
you're
like,
always gonna wonder.
right.
Dude, you're just like, what if I would have done that thing?
Right.
Like, what if I would have tried that thing?
Right. And it's back to also what you're talking about, people telling you, oh, you need to pick a niche for like your photography. Why? So you get stuck in the only thing, and then you go, well, man, I could have been better doing this. I could have been better doing this.
Yeah.
I could have been better doing this. Whereas if you keep yourself open to doing, portraits of families, you do, promo videos for companies, you go and you do headshots for your friend for free, and it looks so much better than the one that he had when he was 23. I mean, you just never know. You never know what's going to become your niche, and you're also never going to enjoy that creativity that stepping outside of that fire is going to do for you.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. I mean, it's a hard thing because most people that are very successful, they have niche down and then they're like, oh yeah, I made a lot of money doing this. But then you still see some of those people, they eventually like, dude, fuck this, I'm bored. And then they eventually pivot.
Mark
But
Cuban.
they already got successful, but still. But like back to what you're saying about, I mean, thank you, that's sweet. But like we do have a lot of friends that are taking risks, and like I was like thinking about Tyler the other, I'm like, dude, he has been in real estate for so long. He's just like, dude, I'm not happy with this.
Yeah.
That's a big ass risk to be like, I'm really good at this. I'm gonna put it all aside and I'm gonna do something else. And like that's fucking scary. And I know this because I've done it firsthand, like so that kind of shit, especially like the longer you get into a career. I mean, you see people that have been in a career 20 years and they're like, you know what? I don't want to keep doing this because I'm bored or I'm miserable and I want to go back to school. Like that's so scary to like just start again. But I admire the people that do it. Like, and then it is the same, I think, with moving, like going somewhere different or pulling the trigger on, like you got married, Emma went to Texas, Ivy and Kevin started a business, like I do surround myself with a lot of people that like take risks and so that's been encouraging for me. I'm like, yeah, I can do it too. I mean, it's always going to be scary to fail. Like, and it's less embarrassing than you think.
Yeah.
It's more embarrassing to yourself, but what like nobody else cares is what I'm like discovering. Like it was so hard for me to go back to the bar. I fought it for a while.
I know.
Like 6 to 8 months. And then once I got back, I was like, dude, I like it back here. And then now I'm doing both, which is like, it's like a healthy balance, at least for now, it's a healthy balance of a little bit of bar and plenty of time to still do the photo video and the podcast and all this stuff. And I'm like, way happier than having cabin fever stuck in my house. And the only escape I have is if I go drink and go to a bar and just escape my problems instead of go work and make a little money and like, have some fun.
Yeah.
So once I went back, it was like a click and I was like, oh, this is actually what I needed. But it took me so long because I was so like I was just embarrassed. I'm like, oh, everyone's gonna know that you failed.
But did you fail though?
I mean, I would consider it like, so it depends on how you look at failure. I just think that you either win or some people say you either
Participation.
No. Some people say you either learn or you win. So failures are learning lessons.
Mhm.
So I don't mind saying I failed. I don't necessarily need to say it that way,
Right.
because you like you're always going to have failures. It's a matter of like, are you going to let it keep you down and then you quit? Then that's a failure. Like failure. It's like, okay, I quit that thing. Never mind, I wasn't good. Like then that could be a failure, or like a harder failure.
Yeah.
But you could also decide, you know what, I failed the first time and that's just not what I want to do over there. Let me try something different.
Right.
But if you stop trying in general, then maybe that failure got you and you just like gave up. Right. That's not me. Like I'm like, I'm gonna keep going. It's just like, okay, how am I gonna do this differently? I still see it as somewhat of a failure. I'm like, if it was a massive success, I would have never went back. I'm like, oh yeah, I just started winning right away. And I've seen some of those stories, but they're so rare.
Right.
But like what I'm saying is, looking back, I don't mind that I went back to the bar. I'm very happy that I did. I'm happier now. I was getting miserable, like pretty miserable, and I'm like cabin fever. I'm drinking a lot. I'm like, I can barely like now I'm desperate. Now I'm trying to like get desperate jobs. Now I can charge an amount and feel good about when somebody's like, that's too expensive. I'm like, that's okay. Like, like maybe in a year you'll be able to afford me.
Right.
And like I wouldn't be able to do that before. Like I'm like, I need this money so bad.
Right. And then you're basically selling yourself for less.
Yeah. And like my price point, especially now working with Michael, which is a blessing that I met him through this time, and I'm like working, and even some of the times he's like, we'll get to a point you won't need to work at the bar anymore. I was like, even if I don't need to, I think I will. Like I like it. It helps my social interaction. It helps my like mental headspace. It's like kind of like going to the gym. Like I need my gym time. I need a little bit of that. Like
that back and forth.
I'm not sitting on the computer right now. All I'm doing is cracking jokes, throwing beers, like that. It does give me a sense of relief to do it. And I'm like, dude, maybe when I'm 60, I'll still be bartending one night a week, even if I'm fucking rich.
Yeah.
Just being like, dude, it's just fun.
Do you ever think that there was also a point of you that wanted to go back to the bar or some of the social?
Oh,
because and I don't mean this in a mean way. I just remember like you and I still like hung out, but just not as much. But like, you and I had different spots in life, and that was okay. You also took your risk. I also like got into a serious relationship, and like we didn't hang out as much.
Yeah.
We still hung out and we had very good conversations. Not on the podcast.
Yeah.
But we had very good conversations. We also had very good times together. Anytime we saw each other, we just didn't see each other as much.
Right.
But now, like, I still get to see you twice a week. I'm on the podcast again. Like, this is great. I mean, this is fun that you and I get to come back and spend that time together.
Yeah.
But I think one of those things that, I was thinking internally was, man, I haven't seen you in a while. Like, I knew you were taking trips because you were also doing a lot of photography. You were also doing a lot of these other things. And I was like, man, I do have a phone. I could reach out to you. And I didn't because I just thought you were busy. Yeah, that's fair.
No, it was isolating. It was very isolating. And like I felt, I mean, I was with Cinda.
Yeah.
And so that was like helpful to have somebody. But I was just like, dude, like every time that I would go, and I originally was going to Rudy's once a week. I was like, dude, I want to maintain these friendships. See my friends once a week.
Yeah.
And then it was like every couple weeks because I got poorer. Oh, it was just like it hit a point like towards the end where I was like, dude, I can't afford 4 beers anymore. You know, like I can't be going there once a week. So I'll be like, every once in a while, like Hannah be like, I'll buy your first beer if you come out. Okay, you know, I'll come out and see everybody, you know, but it like became harder and harder. And I'm like, fuck, I'm struggling here. So yeah, it was an isolating time. And then it's just like, then I would feel guilty when I'm spending time with other people. I'm like, no, you should be home working on your shit.
Yeah.
But then I would end up being at home miserable and then not working on things anyway.
Right.
Because I'm like, just like wallowing and stuff.
Or like, again, you know, and I sometimes do this as well. And I think we have another friend that does this as well, is that I still want to go hang out with everybody. I still want to be a part of things, but then all of a sudden you also still have to be doing your job. You still have to be working.
Yeah.
And like, you know, again, when your focus is only on your job, right? Whether it be, you know, engineering, coding, or photography, and you're still sitting at a bar, you get half of the conversation, you get some of the jokes, and you either have to kind of fake laugh it, or you're like, yeah, I didn't even hear you.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're sitting there and you're so zoned into still your work that you're not actually there with people. You're not actually there in the conversation, you know. Back to like people being on their phones when you're trying to have a conversation with them. You know, I think that's a struggle. But then like when you came back to the bar, like I think the coolest thing is that again, you were bartending again. You weren't at the bar working on photos or video. You were there, you could crack jokes, you know, be the smart ass that you are, and it's fun, you know. And like I sit there, and that's sometimes what I end up figuring out too is that, man, it's just more fun just to go sit at the bar. I've had, you know, a long day, a long morning. I'm going to shut everything down. I'm going to shut my mind off.
It's that release. Go
back and forth. And, you know, I still think it's also endorphins that just like that camaraderie, that joking mentality that all of us have. We have that where if we have that for so long and then we go do something and you don't have that, it sucks.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, a lot of people also end up not wanting to do that too, like not wanting to do something different because, oh, well, I have all these extra endorphins.
Well, that's the frustration, because like if you want to try something new, if you want to start a new business, you're probably not going to get to socialize as much. Like that's just part of, and I've looked at it as like I think there are seasons, you know, like, and if I try something, I'm like, I need to do a lot less socialization. If I've been going out 7 nights a week, I'm like, dude, I need to scale that fucking back.
Yeah.
I'll go out 2 nights a week and then I'm in, you know, or whatever. You know, it's just like, dude, for this period of time, it's not forever.
Right.
But it's just like, and that's what I feel with like the 75 hard thing. I'm like, dude, you can do this for 2.5 months. Winter is when everybody hibernates anyway.
Right.
Like I would, and one of the things I did in my my first sober time was I told myself I will still say yes to socialization. You just won't drink, but you will still say yes. And so when somebody invited me somewhere, I was like, cool, I'll get out there. And I would take a microdose of mushrooms and I'd bring a 6-pack of Heine Zeros and I would go to a house party or I'd go to a bar and I'd drink a Heineken Zero, or if they have the athletics or whatever, you know, there's tons of options these days.
Right.
And that's going to be my goal again this time, is like, dude, you still go places. You still don't sit and wallow. You eating shit. Dude, I got to
try it. Same. You go
first.
Right. Number two.
The
most powerful facial is a dude.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's yours. Wait, say that again for the camera. The world's best. Dude, have you seen my I don't know if it was in there. My asshole that. Damn it, what's that brand? Assholes Live Forever. Did you see the candle?
No.
Yeah, show you this. Hold on, I'll bring it in. put it in here? I might have moved it. I had it. Oh, there you go. I had it in my bathroom. Only sometimes David gave this to me.
Assholes live forever.
That's the brand.
Like this can't only want a blowjob.
So, dude, it's such a good move to like if you have a
Oh, it smells good.
if you just like bring a random from the bar or whatever, you go to the bathroom real quick, you light it, and then you just see what they say. Because they're either gonna think it's really funny and hot, and then they're probably gonna give you a blowjob, or they're gonna be like, "You're disgusting," and then you realize you shouldn't be at my house.
Or they're just like, "Ew, I like it."
Yeah, actually, one or two of the podcasts I had this. I didn't light it, but I had it like behind here. This is kind of blurry. Normally.
Yeah.
This is actually really messy. Normally, I want to make it a little more feng shui, as I build, just have it
Right.
clean backgrounds and stuff. But yeah, I was showing. David said he got that it was like a free gift when you bought like a sweatshirt or something. So it's like a kind of a clothing brand. The guy who started it was just he was like just like a fucker, and he was just like, oh yeah, I want to make this like silly brand, and he just like says some really offensive things on some of his stuff and puts it out. And then
have you seen the one that has the little QR code right here and then the big QR code on the back? And when people scan it, it just says "fuck you." Dude, I really want to buy that sweatshirt, but like I also can't justify like spending the money for it because I'm like, I'm gonna wear it all the time and people are gonna get like offended about it. But I'm like, it's funny.
See, I want to wear. Speaking of that, I mean, we talked about this. I would like to get a tattoo with a QR code.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool. It'd be like, hey, you have a business card? No, but just scan this.
Yeah.
That's a move. Like that's a flex move. I feel it's cool. I think it's cool anyway. And then that goes to whatever, like my website, and you can always change that. But like, I need to figure out. I have to secure that basically for life. So it's like I need to pay for that for life or whatever. It's like a domain name, and then you can attach a different domain to it. And I also need to make sure it's a tattoo that won't spread. So it, needs to be very detailed.
Yeah. See, I like. Have you seen the people that do the songs, like with Spotify? So you know how like Spotify on certain songs, like they have like the like little lines, and then you can scan it, and then Spotify will pull that song up. So Spotify does that, and I'm like, I would love to do that, but then like my fear would be is that like all of a sudden Spotify goes away, and then I had these just random friggin' bars.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing with QR codes. I mean, like, who knows in 20 years what that is?
Right.
But still, I don't even mind that because that's like a nod to the past. It's like, oh yeah, I used to use this. Remember QR codes? Like, I don't think that's a problem.
You remember your MySpace handle?
Yeah. Dude, when I built my website, I put my MySpace handle on it.
Did you really?
For jokes. I ended up pulling it down, but I thought it was funny. And I had some people look at it. And then it's like, more about or like contact me, and I had like my Facebook and like my MySpace. They're like, oh my god,
that's funny.
And I don't even know if it worked, but I do. Yeah, of course, things change over time. 10 years, 20 years, who knows?
Well, technology has changed. I mean, look at just everything that we're going through right now with like AI and just all the changes there. I mean, it's one of those where it's just a crazy spot. Like I look back, like soon to be 32, and just looking at technology and just how it's changed, like since I started really getting into technology till now. I mean, I still love technology. I love to be on like the forefront of technology.
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, it's crazy just to see like how everything has changed.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, even in the last 5 years, I mean, I think Elon was probably one of the first people to really, really go into this is what AI is going to be. Yeah. This is what AI is going to do for us. And then now you look at it and, dude, I mean, AI is just this huge thing. I mean, now I can sit there and I can go to ChatGPT and I can put in, 3-4 keywords and it can write a whole term paper.
Yeah.
I mean,
how do you think I wrote your speech?
from the heart.
Dude, I was originally going to write it from ChatGPT. I still use that joke.
Yeah.
But I was like, dude, I would have to type in a lot of details about a relationship, and I kind of fucked around with it. I was like, oh, I'm getting some very generic
Right.
best friend speeches, and I'm like, this I can be more specific. Dude, the other day when I posted that beard picture, I went to ChatGPT and I was like, write me a poem about a beard with a lot of alliteration.
Yeah.
And it is nuts. And I wish I had my phone now, but it's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Like it's just like the way it's crafted, and it's like all starts with B's, you know, for the most part, but then it still ends in rhymes. And it's very I'm trying to think of the style. I won't think of the style. But I sent it to Cinda. So I was like, do you like this poem I wrote about beards? And she's like, holy shit, babe, that's so good. And then I was just like, dude, ChatGPT wrote that. She's like, what? And so I just got my cut from my barber. So I was like, hey man, check out this poem I wrote about the beard and stuff. And he's like, dude, that's really good. And then I go, just kidding, AI wrote it. And he's like, fuck AI. And I was like, dude, I know, man. I honestly do feel that. I'm like, dude, fuck you. Like, you're better than me already. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't be able to write that poem.
Yeah.
Or it would have taken me a month. Like,
or a year.
Yeah.
Dude, it was wild. I was talking to a couple of kids that are like in high school right now, like with math, and they're like, man, we like partially suck at math. But like, instead of paying for a tutor, now what they're doing is like they can take a picture of like the equation, and then it'll show through AI is like how to solve it.
Yeah.
And it's a step by step. And like it also explains why you do what you do for each step. And I was like,
yeah,
holy shit, like that's probably so much better than like an actual tutor, because a tutor is going to show you the way that they know how to do it.
Also, everybody can afford a tutor now. Like, which helps, you know, like if you can afford free ChatGPT, now it's not just for elites, you know, because like we couldn't afford a tutor, you know, right? So if you are struggling,
mine was go into the teacher or get better.
Yeah,
be smarter.
Yeah, I do. I mean, there are many cons about AI. There are many pros. I think we're gonna have to deal with both of them. Like, obviously, there are pros for AI.
Yeah,
there's many cons, but I do think it's, unless the robots take over, which in that case, it's going to happen anyway. So like, I don't really know what to do about that. Like in my brain, I don't know how to, like, I just won't think about, like, I'm not going to spend my days thinking about what if the robots take over, because that's not going to be a good use of my time. I have no effect on whether they're going to take over or not. So like, why am I worrying about it?
Right.
You know, like that seems silly. But but it could be just like another technology, just like like the typewriter, got rid of the printing press. And just like, it's just like people always fought technology and some people embraced it. It's just like, learn how to use it. If you don't learn how to use it, you will fall behind for sure.
Yeah.
And I still don't really know how to use it as well as I should, but I need to try. And like the YouTube live thing that I want to do, and I need to learn it today because I'm going live tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I bought the capture card. To explain, so I started looking on Google, like how to do YouTube live. And like I was looking at some YouTube videos and some people are explaining it, and I was just like, dude, why don't I ask ChatGPT? Go into ChatGPT, and I was like, I have a mirrorless camera. I would like to do, or like, explain to me step by step how I will set up my system from a mirrorless camera, like give them the specifics. So from a mirrorless camera into a Macintosh computer, I want to go onto YouTube Live. And then it just had this breakdown. So step one, do this, this, this.
Yeah.
And part of step two is you need a capture card to go to HDMI from the camera into the computer. Next, get one of these three softwares. Next, pull up that software, do this, next, bring it from there to YouTube. And I'm like, okay, I can follow these steps.
Right.
And it was like so much more simple than anyone explaining it on Google or on YouTube. It was just like, because it's like has all the information and it puts it concise, and I'm like, okay, I'll follow these instructions.
Yeah. I mean, I think technology in general, like in the evolution of technology, is a great thing. I think the really cool thing is that, you know, YouTube still has all of these videos on like the do it yourselves, right?
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny, you know, I was talking to Mina about it, and I'm like, you know, I remember growing up with my dad, and my dad was like the jack of all trades. Like,
Same.
we almost never paid somebody to come in and do any work at the house.
Same.
It was, my dad was going to do it. I'm getting yelled at because I'm not holding the flashlight right, or like, hey, why the hell aren't you screwing this in? I said Phillips head, not flathead. The fuck? That's a wrong hammer. I need a mallet. But like, I remember like a lot of those things, and I still like remember them now. And like, my dad still does a ton of repairs at his house, like with YouTube, or like how to do stuff with like the car. Like, it was all YouTube for the longest time. And you see AI helping you figure out the best video that you can for what you need.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, you know, trades are still really good. You know, like there's a lot of things that I won't do at the house. Like, I won't fix my garage door. Like, I don't deal with those springs because those springs will kill you. I don't do anything with gas because that shit will kill you slowly but surely.
Yeah.
You know, but then like electrical, plumbing, anything along those sorts, like, dude, I still will go look and watch 2 or 3 YouTube videos and be like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I know how to do this. Or I'm like, you know, and this is probably a bad thing. I'm like, I'm a fucking engineer. I can figure this out. Like, you know, I ended up like rebuilding my garbage disposal. Like, it went out about 3 weeks ago.
Of course you did.
And it was a $3 part, or it's an $80 replacement.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna go spend a plumber to come in to redo it, and I get charged $500-$600.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, fuck it. I'm gonna try to go for the cheapest approach. And like, I watched YouTube. YouTube was a step by step. And then, so like, YouTube has a partial AI, like, where if you need to stop it, or you just say, hey, back up, or even through Alexa.
Oh, I
like,
didn't know that. That's cool.
so you can say back up 10 seconds, back up 20 seconds. So that way you can rewatch it again.
I keep doing all the time.
And it's so cool to watch how AI is developed to be a positive thing. But like, I'm like sitting there going, man, like, is that going to start taking over some of these jobs that like people are so skilled at?
Well, of course.
I mean, being an electrician, right?
Yeah.
Like, I could watch a YouTube video right now, and so could you, how to replace an outlet.
Right.
But like,
I mean, most people still aren't going to, but
correct.
Have you seen South Park that they deal with that? Where
they took our jobs.
Yeah. Well, like, I think it was last season or this season where Randy's trying to teach them how to fix the oven. And then, he's like, so you go to he's like, you pull up Google and you call a handyman.
Yeah.
And then all the handymen are just like making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that like, originally we're like, AI is coming for all these physical jobs, and now we're like, oh no, AI is coming for tech jobs. And a lot of that kind of stuff, like copywriters. And you know, it's like, yeah, you might need a like paralegal. You might need the head paralegal to, like, if you're in a big law firm, you can have AI write most of your shit. You just need one person proofreading, but you don't need 20 people under you writing it anymore.
Right.
So all those 20 people are out. Now you just have one person, right? So there's that kind of shit where like AI is taking those jobs. But it does seem that AI is not taking a plumber's job anytime soon. You know,
it's not taking a landscaper's job.
Right,
it's not
exactly. And yes, I mean, people have been able to learn how to landscape for a long time, but they still don't want to. So they're
Right.
still going to pay somebody to do it.
Right.
But yeah, I think sometimes, you know, like I did something with my garbage disposal, and I figured out how to like get it working again, and I almost called a plug.
Oh, taking the Allen wrench underneath just to get it unclogged.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh fuck, I figured something else. But me, I'm normally like, dude, if it's gonna cost 200 or less, I'd rather, or $200 to $300, I'd rather spend it than spend all day doing it.
Right.
Like if that's a $300 day, like I'd rather just pay somebody to do it because I'm gonna spend my entire day trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
I'd rather do other shit.
Well, I like so during like the heat of summer, like I ended up changing our thermostat, and like I'm like, man, it's freaking hot in the house. Like we have no air, we have no nothing. And I'm like, I know I wired this thing right. Well, I didn't realize that like I ended up blowing one of the fuses because I didn't know, like I knew what I was doing. I knew I put everything back together, but I didn't realize that I blew the fuse. And then I ended up also going to like my AC unit, and then the big ass capacitor in it, I ended up blowing that. Well, so I ended up replacing the capacitor. Well, I didn't realize that we have two fuses in our like HVAC.
Yeah.
So I blew the one, so it's automatically not going to work. Well, I ended up turning it on, and so I blew the secondary. Well, then when I changed out the capacitor, because it, you know, I mean, it's 14 years old.
Yeah.
So then I ended up turning it back on while I blew the primary, and I was like, the fuck? It is 83 degrees in this house. I'm done. People are coming for the wedding.
Yeah.
This is
You
ridiculous.
finally hired someone?
So I called somebody, and the funniest thing is, instead of calling somebody first, I end up calling Jordan, right? Does air filters. I was like, dude, I already replaced the air filters. I already replaced this. I replaced this. What am I doing wrong? He's like, well, just wait a little bit. I'm going to call somebody else. Like, maybe it is. He goes, do you take the panel off and check your fuses? And I was like, no. And he's like, well, you probably should do that. He's like, or it's going to be the pump, like, and like that you're not going to be able to do. You're going to have to call somebody. So he was making calls at that time, and I was so pissed off. And I was like, dude, screw this. I am hot. I am sweating. I am miserable. And then we have the dogs, and I'm like, I cannot justify like going somewhere else that has AC and the dog's just at home being just hot as shit. So I ended up calling like the electrician and the HVAC guy, and he's like, oh, okay, let me take your panel off. Dude, you replaced both fuses. $6 a piece. $12 total that I could have gotten down at the hardware store.
Yeah.
$360 later. And I was like, there's no friggin' way.
Dude.
That I just spent $360 on $12. So I saw Jordan the night, like that night, and I was like so pissed off about it because like I was like, I can replace these. I know how to replace fuses. I do this for my job. And he's like, didn't I tell you to do that? I go, yeah, but I got fucking lazy.
Yeah.
And so like the guy's just like laughing when he gives me the bill, and he's like, dude, I am so sorry. And I was like, then I go into haggle mode. And I was like, well, can you do like 200? He's like, it's a set price. It's standardized.
Yeah, it's just like his company set price or whatever.
Yeah. And I was like, I should have just got on AI and just like walk through everything.
Dude, fucking Eric's gonna hate me if he ever hears this, but this is one good thing about having Mexican friends is you have like, I have a person for everything. And I'm not a person that will, like, I'm not gonna pay you, like, come over and just do it for free.
Yeah.
Oh, always. But they do normally hook it up for friends.
Yeah.
You know? Like, so when my water heater went out, it was like the plate or the gauge, the thing that like controls everything. I don't know what it's called. But Eric's like, dude, buy this one. It's gonna be way cheaper than if you buy it through a company, and then you can install it yourself. And so then I was worried about like the fucking gas.
Yeah.
So he ended up coming over, and I was like, and he was like, dude, you're good. And I was like, I'll give you $100, you know. And I still ended up like, he just showed me how to do it. I'd already drained the tank, but he was like, oh, dude, like when You think when I'm working at places, I farm it out. It's just like I get paid by the hour. So, and it depends on because sometimes he works for his own business, sometimes he works for somebody else's business and stuff.
Yeah.
But he's just like, I'll just be in there like on my phone scrolling TikToks, but like, I want them to think I'm working, so I'll like knock on the wall.
Yeah.
I was like, are you serious? And I was like, dude, that's hilarious. And I'm like, dude, that does ring true in my brain. I'm like, yeah, dude, what are they doing with all this time? Why are they charging $300? Oh yeah, well we had to do this and this. I'm like, when it really is just 2 fuses.
Yeah.
And for the people that know, they're pissed. The people that don't know, they're like, oh yeah, it seems standard. It looks, I don't want to know how to do it, so you guys do it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, holy shit, dude.
And that's and
Knocking
that's where
on the wall.
Yeah. I've heard that before. But like that's the thing though too, is that like, and we'll never get away from that until we make like robots to do like these manual jobs.
But then also, like, are you gonna like you need robots to like go to the house? Like, obviously, robots build cars.
Sure.
Robots, like there's all this stuff that they can do, but like until you can have like a robot that walks into your house, looks at your shit. Oh, it's this. Like that's another hurdle, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
but if they can do that, they're probably gonna enslave us. So at that point,
yeah. And then we hit the EMP, we kill it all. We go back to a barter system.
Back to still trying to figure out fire. Dude,
take 2 rocks and just keep slamming them together.
So were you in Boy Scouts growing up?
Oh yeah.
Really? See, I never did. I don't know how to make a fire from scratch.
Oh, I can survive.
I think that
my survival is I'm gonna call RC. RC, shit's going down.
Oh, bro,
you got the firepower.
I've talked to him about that too. Because, dude, if the world goes to shit, so one of my skills is building community. So Mayor
Josh.
Yeah, no, I don't even know if I could be a mayor, but like I know enough people that I think would take me in.
Mm-hmm.
And that and I know that I can provide. Like I'm a hard worker, so like if everything goes to shit, and we'll say we go to RC's ranch, I know how to put my hands to work, like just tell me what to do, like, but I'm not in charge anymore, like I'll build some shit, I'll man the gun station if other people are coming, like I know how to shoot a gun, I know how to build stuff, I know how to like take direction, and I also have good friends, like. So that is like my safety net.
Yeah.
My only other safety net is like if everything goes to shit, I'm like I got to get back to my dad's. But that means driving across the country in a post-apocalyptic situation where like there's no gas. So like I don't think I can get there. So more than likely I would stay here. You know? Like it's just like okay, like you get the conglomerate of the people that you want. And you like protect yourselves, like, okay, we're here now. Like, what's gonna happen? I don't know if you ever watched like Jericho.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That kind of shit.
You ever thought about that?
Yes.
If stuff like that.
Yes, I have.
That was quick. You're like, yes.
Dude, remember COVID when I bought the food store?
Oh yeah.
Dude, I had to pee again.
Like I thought about that a lot of like you don't piss off certain people. You know who you have, the people that like can do these certain things, like especially in like if World War III ever like ends up going out or like another type of like civil war comes out like across the states. Dude, I think I'm good. I think I'm set. I hope. Like, but I'm like, I go back to the barter system where I'll work hard. You tell me what to do. I can do it. I can shoot a gun. Mm-hmm. I'm good at technology. We'll figure shit out. Yeah. Like, but dude, I mean, I sit there sometimes and just think about it, like going, man, what the hell would happen if everything went to shit? There's no more gas, no more electronics, no more anything of that sort. Like, how can you still be valuable in a society?
Yeah.
And like, I truly think that there are a lot of people that are not going to be as like successful.
Right.
But like, that's why you're like, oh, also might as well build certain friendships. Might as well like
For sure. Like I don't
have
have
that
all the
community.
skills. Like there are definitely people that have more skills than me, but I have a connection with them.
Right.
And then I also have like, I mean, it is a perk of growing up on a farm. I'm like, I know how to work. Like, maybe some people don't know how to, but like you also can learn really quick. I think if you're a good person and you don't have those skills, but you have built friendships and shit goes to shit, you're like, you're part of us. You're gonna learn how to work. Like, I've never worked manual labor in my life. Well, too bad. Now you're learning.
Yeah.
And they will be able to figure it out. But because they're like a good person, they're part of the community. Like, yeah, like for sure, like you bond together. And I think that that's a better safety net than saying, "Hey, I'm gonna build a bunker. I'm going to learn how to, like, isolate myself from the world and, like, grow my own crops." I'm like, well, if you don't have a community, you're just gonna get rampaged by,
Yeah.
like another like, a group of horde of, somebody who's running through like, I was listening to Candace Owens talk about this. I don't know if you know her. She's,
Mm-mm.
like, the black girl that's, like, kinda right wing.
Oh, yeah, I do. I do.
Yeah,
I
so
know who you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, so I listened to her a bit because I used to hate her and that she has some things that I really like and then some things I really hate, but it doesn't really matter. But like I was listening to her talk about she's like, most people don't know how to grow crops. Like what if things go to shit? Like me and my husband know how to like grow crops and we can isolate and we can self-sustain. And that's good. You should. Like I think that's a good skill to know. But if you don't have a community,
Right.
you're just gonna sit over here as a farm. Like we've all seen way too many movies where, like, yeah, it's just a traveling horde of guys are just gonna roll through, kill you guys,
The
and take
Walking
all your
Dead.
crops.
The Walking
Or
Dead.
yeah, that like or the zombies. But regardless of what that system is, you
Yeah.
can't just be alone. You do need a group and you need protection. So like having a community of people and a hierarchy, and I'm happy to not be in charge anymore. I'm like if
Right.
like, oh, RC, now you run the guns and everything, cool. Like I'm happy to report to you.
Right.
Thanks for having me in your like this farm area.
Right.
Like what do I need to do to contribute to everything? Like I'm very happy for that protection. I will work hard. I will play my role.
Right.
But if you're just thinking, oh, I'm just gonna be by myself, I'm gonna grow my crops, I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
somebody's gonna come over here and just
Yeah. I'm gonna isolate myself from everybody else, and I'm gonna do so good being isolated with me and my family. Right. So what happens with the next generation? What happens with the next set of kids?
yeah.
Right? Like you're gone.
Dude, speaking of isolating, apparently, I must have heard it on Rogan or something. There is a group of people that during World War II in Russia, or like during that whole time, when Stalin kind of like when all the shit, I don't even know that much history, but like when Stalin took over and everyone was starving, and
Yeah.
like there was like a lot of um, uh, shit between the people in the state and whatever. They fled to super far North Russia into this like super isolated territory, and apparently weren't contacted by any other humans for like 3 generations, and so they still thought that like Stalin and everything was in charge even after the Soviet Union collapsed. And,
Really?
they had, like, been there's some documentary about them, like, people, like, discovering them out in this thing, and they were just still under the impression that the Soviet Union was, like,
Like the
had control.
superpower.
Yeah, yeah. And then like, because they just
Wow.
missed, like, 50 years of
Yeah.
time because they were so isolated. I was like, "Holy shit, that's fucking
Wow.
wild."
Dude, but you look at also even like the people that are like super indigenous that like do not like have any outside interaction with
Yeah.
like technology and things like that. Like I've seen like a couple of them where like they'll like see people that have never seen technology before,
Yeah.
and they go nuts about like who are these people like that they've never seen before
Yeah.
that are like the whitest of white people, and it's like you look so different from us, you must be like the devil.
Yeah.
Like
Isn't there there's like one or I mean, there's probably a couple, but there's one island where they still like when a plane goes over, they like shoot arrows at it and
yeah,
stuff. And we just never that we like as Western societies, we kind of decided just leave them alone.
Yeah.
They just let them do their own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Dude. Yeah. But it's like also too, like back to like end of like times where you're going like back to World War III, like the apocalypse, post-apocalyptic. Like I sit there and I'm like, dude, again, having that community, knowing people that know stuff, knowing people that like are good at like resourcing things.
Yeah,
Like, dude, that's who you surround yourself with.
right.
Like they may be like a little nuts, they may be a little like far out, but like they're gonna get you through it.
Yeah.
And I sit there and I'm like, at least I'm good with my hands. At least I like can do manual labor still. Like my knees might hurt, but whatever.
Right. Figure it out.
But like, dude, if you don't have like a good thing to like barter with, like you're screwed.
When I thought about that, like, so one thing I love about being a videographer is a tradable skill set.
Yeah.
In a modern technology. If things go to shit, this is all out the window. Like this skill that I've built is only for this. So like it's not a protection against the future, which is why like having good friends and having other skills is important, and it's not like I build my life around when the apocalypse happens. I don't think that is the way to live life.
Right.
I do think that having a little bit of protection, just like like we talked about, just surrounding yourself with friends, a good community, like no matter what, like we're like you're part of us. Like having that group is just like it's like the prison system. I've been watching Mayors of Kingstown. But it's like, dude, are you gonna join this group or this group? But like, you can't be isolated. Like, you have to join a group. Like, you can't just be out here on your own. You're not protected. So, in those extreme situations, you do need to have a group.
Right.
But yeah, video is not going to be a skill set that will serve me well.
I mean, but like even
unless we figure out a way to propagandize and still broadcast, then it would, because I'm like, oh shit, I can help us propagandize the fuck out of everybody else.
Right. So our territory's better. If you want to join our territory, here you go.
But we still need airwaves and television for that, like some way to do that.
But even with your good public speaking voice, though, like you could go over airwaves.
Oh yeah. That's why I'm doing the YouTube live.
See?
Is to get ready for public speaking.
See? So there you go.
Dude, it was
chock full of ideas over here.
It was interesting in this adventure, like taking a big risk, for example.
Yeah.
And actually that's like if we were to go into a post-apocalyptic situation, you do want people that have already taken risks, that have already done hard things. Like that's where it's like, oh, you want a person that has, God damn it, Momo. You want somebody who has challenged themselves already over and over and over, not somebody who is just like, oh yeah, I've just lived a comfortable life. Like, oh, how are you gonna help us? You know? So that goes like to that point. But when I quit the job and I was like, oh, I need to have a safety net of money. And what I've kind of realized through this whole adventure is, and there's a guy who teaches this from Japan, but he's like, safety nets aren't always money, it's like a community. So and I learned this a lot from Rav, who's the doctor that runs a charity that I work for in India, and one of Lindsay's good friends, and he's like, they have such a big community of people that like, your brother will never go without. Like if he needs a place to stay, if he lost everything, like we will, does he need some money? Does he need a place to crash? Does he so I actually will never be on the street because of the community. So that allows me to take the risk. And so even if my bank account doesn't have like 10 grand for like an emergency, and then I have an emergency, I can always ask Lindsay, Rob, Justin, like I have these like people that I'm like, hey, it takes a little bit of ego, but it's just like, hey, I need help right now.
Yeah.
And they would be happy to take me in because going back to building the community.
Yeah.
And so I never thought of it that way until recently. I'm like, oh, this is a safety net. Like
Yeah.
your friends, family, like the people that like they got you. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to ask all the time, but
Yeah, but I think also
if it's needed.
I think a lot of people also have to remember that asking for help is not necessarily a negative thing. Asking for help like is a great form of being humble.
Yeah.
You know, there is some humility to it for sure, but like it's also one of those where like truthfully, if I have the ability to help somebody out, chances are at some point in my life I'm going to also need that back. And if I can help somebody else out, like I'm hoping that somebody else, maybe not that person specifically, but maybe somebody else is going to be able to help me back out in the future.
Yeah.
Right. And it all goes back to the community. It all goes back to, man, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I have all the answers. I don't know if I'm always going to be successful for the rest of my life.
Right.
And if I am, that's great. Like, somehow I figured this shit out. But like, if I need help or I need something to get me by, like having that community is always going to help me be more successful, to be
Yeah.
more happy, and to make sure that I can do what I need to do.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, a bar's a great place to do it. Like honestly, it sounds kind
It
of
is.
stupid, but dude, a bar is a great place to do it. People are always super super willing to talk, to express how they're doing. I mean, you know, I mean, you being a bartender, I mean, how many times do you have people coming in and you go, "Hey, how's it going?" It's kind of a shitty day.
Yeah.
All right, tell me a little bit more. Like
Yeah.
you may be invested, but you may also not be invested, but at least they get an outlet. They at least get somebody that they can pawn it off
Yeah.
to that may not be a part of their lives that they can feel a little bit comfortable with. And like that is a huge thing too.
Dude, people are more comfortable telling the bartender their shitty day than like their sister or their wife or sometimes.
Or a best
Yeah,
friend
yeah,
or
they're just like, yeah, I
anybody.
can just tell this guy because he's my safe space for this shit.
He's not gonna remember shit. He's hammered as hell.
Sometimes.
But I mean but like that's the cool thing though too about like having a community of people, having a community that you can call your own is just that, you know, you have all these people that come from different walks of life and you can sit there and you can go, yeah, I had a shitty day. Oh, tell me a little bit more. They may
Yeah.
not get what you're going through, but they can at least empathize with you and be like, I'm here for you,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, dude, there's man, there's like a learning lesson in being vulnerable with people, which is something I'm still working on like a lot. But I feel like I've learned a lot in the last couple of years because of how chasing my own shit and how much chaos that brings, etc. But
Yeah.
like actually reaching out to me and like, hey, I need some help right now, or hey, I need somebody to talk to because I'm upset.
Yeah.
And like that's not like the manly thing to do. Like, so that goes against like who I am. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I got this. I'm a man. Me, yeah, me strong.
Me, big boy.
I big boy. So it goes, yeah, flies in the face of like traditional masculinity, which also I feel like I find myself caught in between two worlds because part of me is a very emotional little mama's boy, but part of me fucking loves Andrew Tate, and I'm like, no, I'm a man. You take care of your own. You know, like you're in charge.
Yeah.
So there's like I have like these two parts, you know, where like they kind of fight, but I do think there is like a if you are vulnerable with somebody, you're like that alone, like asking for help ends up like bringing you closer, like because like when somebody asks me for help, I find myself feeling more like valued. Like,
Yeah.
oh, they came to me.
Right.
You know, they didn't have to. They saw me as valuable and they were like, "Hey man, can you help me in
Yeah.
this thing?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah." So then when I help them, I'm like, "I'm important. Like I have value in the world other than just making jokes." They actually asked me for some advice
Right.
or for
Actual.
whatever it is. Like it's just like, oh, they wanted me to help them. That
Yeah.
means I'm important. So then that was like then I realized how much of an ego boost that is and like how it helps me feel good about myself when somebody asks me. So I'm like, oh, I could do the same if I just reach out a little bit the next time that I need some help and actually ask for it. It could actually give
It,
somebody else like a bit like, oh shit, I'm happy I get to help Josh.
yeah. And I think that's a hard spot though too, like of the back and forth too, because right, like there's also to a spot where is it like a tick for tack for asking for help, right? So I ask you for help. Now are you going to come back to me?
Like you owe me this.
Right.
Right.
And I think that a lot of times, like, and it's kind of a gender bias thing, but like men also don't like to ask for help
Right.
because it's like,
That's why
oh,
we don't ask for
now,
directions.
well, we have GPS. Well, like, but even in that standpoint though too is that like I would much rather try and figure it out myself. I would much rather do everything by myself because then I'm like, oh, somebody like I don't owe somebody something,
Right, right.
you know. But then there's also that same spot back of I do want people to ask me for something. It's not that they owe me something, it's I'm there for them.
Yeah.
But it's that hard middle ground of if somebody asks me for something, like I want to be there. I want to be able to help them. But
Yeah.
like I also don't want anything in return.
Right.
But then there's also that spot of getting back on the other side of it of, well, I don't want to ask for help because I don't want to owe somebody something.
But do you think that maybe they would never expect anything in return just like you?
Eh, I don't know. And
Yeah.
that's the hard spot of just ever asking for help
Right.
is what do you do there, right? Do you just continue like if I ask for help once in a great while, I don't ever think that there's ever going to be something that's we're going to go back on, well, hey, I helped you this one time, you have to help me with
Yeah.
this, right? But if it's a constant repeated, I keep asking for
Yeah,
help,
yeah.
asking for help, asking for help to the same person,
Right.
like that person, in my opinion, should also be like, dude, I've helped you so many times. I feel like you should help me
Yeah.
back.
No, for
But like,
sure.
but that's also a negative spot too, is that you should just always lend help to anybody.
Yeah.
And so it's
It is a balance, dude. Like I'm so I have on my vision board, give more. Like that's like give more than
but
you
what does that
receive.
mean?
It means like, oh, like for one, it means if I'm paid for a job, do something extra. That's what like that's one of my philosophies of business. So if I tell you I'm going to give you 10 photos, I'm going to give you 15. Like
Okay.
even though I don't say it, but like always give the greater expectation.
Sure.
Last night when I shot, I was hired for shooting this proposal, take some pictures of the actual proposal. I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna also put my video camera out and I'm gonna put microphones under the table and I want to try to get a video for them too.
Right.
That's not what they asked for, but I'm like, I want to give something extra.
Right.
So instead of giving discounts like in like business, I would rather just do something more, you know,
Right.
like so you asked for this, I'm gonna give you one more video, I'm gonna give you one more whatever.
Yeah.
But also is like try to do your best to give more than you receive. You know, it's just like offer your time to your friends, offer your like whatever it is. And I'm not perfect at that, but like that is like a philosophy that I'm like, dude, always try to give more, right?
Right.
So going back to what you're saying, it's just like, yeah, like there are like I know that you don't give something thinking, oh, I'm gonna give this thing so then they will owe me a favor.
Right.
But then you still get wary of somebody being like, fuck, dude, well, I don't want to ask for help because then they'll think that I I need to give them a favor, so I
Yeah.
don't want to ask them. But if you have really good friends, nobody thinks that.
Right.
Like when I asked my sister for help, like which she's like, Josh, I'm here to help you. And then she doesn't expect, oh well, I did this thing.
Right.
Now you need to do this thing
Now
for
you
me.
have to do it.
Yeah, and
It's
so
an
and I've never
obligation.
felt that, but,
Yeah.
like and then that's why I'm like and it doesn't matter if I'm giving to one thing, it's like, I do really believe in the universe, what goes around comes around,
Yeah.
it's what like, I donate my time to this charity, like, I don't like, I'm not getting paid for it, I don't
Yeah.
wanna get paid for it, I wanna donate, like, as much of my time as possible. Sometimes I get paid for, like, oh, they'll pay for my flight. Great, that's great because I couldn't afford to go there, but now, like, let me video or whatever.
Right.
But, like, my sister's so passionate about this thing, and she's doing this event in February. I'm like, "Yeah, like, so what do you need from me?" And then I offer that to her, and it's not out of, "Well, eventually Lindsay's gonna give me something back." It's out of
Right.
love and just whatever, and I know that comes from the heart. And so when you're doing things, I know that comes from the heart.
Yeah.
So what I would say is also assume when you do need something, you can ask and nobody's gonna hold that over you.
Right.
As long yeah, if you ask me 20 times, okay, then I
Right.
might hold it over you.
Buy my beers the next
Yeah.
20 times.
Yeah,
And
like if you're
then,
like if every time I showed up, I'm like, "Hey, and I don't have any money, can you buy my beers?" Of course you would say yes, right?
yeah.
But if I showed up 20 times in a row, "Hey man, I still don't have any money, can you buy my beers again?" Then you're like, "Okay, I'm starting to notice that
Yeah.
Josh is just using me for buying my beers." And there are people like that out
Yeah.
there. I
We
just
know
don't
one.
yeah, I just don't really associate myself that much with those kind of people,
Yeah.
It's like, cool, and I don't even mind being like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." But I like when I start noticing but like I would say the majority of my friends, they're just not like that. Like every
Yeah.
one of my friends has helped me so much, even without asking.
Yeah.
And so that's like the kind of person that I want to be. And so then that kind of community, back to that, starts building where it's just like, yeah, like people are like they're givers, they're like where they're happy to help each other wherever is possible.
Yeah. Well, and I think that also goes on like the idea of helping people out with like actual like physical things, right? Like somebody asks you to do something, you do it, or hey, I'm struggling, let's go meet and just talk, right? I think that like yeah, the acts of service goes so far, but also it goes to the spot of even just the emotional and even like the mental state of people too. So some people end up wanting to talk to you like again and again and again, not necessarily just also for the fact that they want to share something because they don't have anybody else to share with, but also just the idea of, hey, I need to get this off my chest. I appreciate it. But like the next time that you go and you see them, they may ask something about you and then you can share. I mean, it's never 100% back and forth or a 50-50 reciprocal, right?
Mhm.
Like some people are going to give a little bit more like physical and emotional and mental capacity back forth, right? But it's never an even spot. It's always going to be that thing of when you have that community, when you build and you cultivate that community, it's everyone is always together and you're trying to build each other up. I may be able to do a million things for you physically, like, fixing something around the house, or like helping you like talk about technology, building business, looking for new things to help build and promote you. But then there's also that back spot of, hey, something happened in my life. I just need to talk it out with somebody, right?
Yeah.
And somebody's there. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that it's not just a like, I did this for you, you did this for me. It's, some people end up walking through life of not having certain things in their lives and then they reach out to their friends and their friends are like, oh gosh, this guy is just bitching again.
Yeah.
This guy's just upset about this again. He's so negative. But whereas like you have to continue to sit there to me and be like, hey, okay, you're going through something that's really hard right now. Let's talk about it. Let's go through it. Hey, how was this? How was that? You build that relationship, you build that community, and then that community continues to grow. You add in other people. Hey, I noticed that you're struggling with this. Hey, you know what? I have this guy right here standing next to me. Hey, I know this guy. Let's all get together. Let's talk.
Yeah.
You guys can share your struggles. You guys can share the pitfalls to understand each other's spot and make a better community, a more well-rounded community where it's okay to struggle, it's okay to have pitfalls, but to also share your successes and to be able to put everything together is huge.
Yeah, dude, it is, man. It is like funny to talk about like what if the world ends and what would happen, but then like as we've talked about it, I was like, oh, I do have like I have a lot of really good people like I that that would protect me or I would protect them.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Jazz over Christmas about Hannah, and I was like, man, I don't know what happened, but ever since she had Isla, like there's just this like protective spirit that has just been building and building in me. And I like have never really experienced it before. Like I mean, I think I have to some degree, but like it feels very visceral. And I'm just like, is Hannah okay? Like, check on her on the holidays. Like, how are you doing? Like, how is like what's going on with baby daddy? You know, like, is your shit taken care of? Like, do you need any money? You know, like just these like kind of protective instincts. I'm like we're not lovers, we're friends, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I didn't feel it as much before, but now that she has a child, which I'm not really even into kids, but I'm like feeling like Godfather mode, you know,
Yeah.
or what do you call that? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But and I'm not even the Godfather, but you know, it's just like I feel this kind of like need to like make sure everything's good, and I'm maybe not doing the best job. But Jazz was saying she's just like I actually noticed about you years ago. Like when we would go out, I would just like catch you. You're just like, where's Jazz? Okay, she's good over there. Like,
Yeah.
and I didn't even realize that I was doing that, but I have that in like oh my people are here, so are they okay over there? Oh, yep, they're good. And I think it might have helped like growing up with sisters. And then we talked a little bit more about it. I was like, oh, bartending has kind of helped me understand how to like take care of a bunch of people. Like, oh, is
Right.
that guy too drunk over there? Like, is that person annoying him over there? But I'm still making drinks over here. But like, oh, okay, they're fine. They have enough drinks.
Right.
So it makes me like pay attention more
That
to like
protective self.
the surroundings. But like it is funny to watch like with Hannah specifically. I'm just like, fuck, dude. But then the more that I've done that, like it's so funny. She'll go to bat for me so hard.
Oh yeah.
And she was like, yeah, I was talking to somebody, and they're like, is Josh just all like, you know, strippers and fun times? And she's like, you don't know like you don't know the other side of Josh because I only show like I don't want to like be serious at the bar, obviously. Like we're here for entertainment, having a good time, and like I want to hear your stuff. But so I do put on like my most debaucherous self.
Yeah.
At Rudy's.
You put on a good facade.
Yeah. But I don't think that's a facade per se because I also am that. Like I am the debauchery. Like I do like those things.
Yeah.
But it's just not all of me. And I'm like, you should listen to my podcast and like me and Ian talk about philosophy. For, you know, like there is another side of me too, which I mean, we talked about this earlier. Like we have multifaceted parts, but I do think I only show the one kind of just like really silly, fun, debaucherous side of me.
Yeah.
There. And then I was like, should I show a little more of like my realness, like to the people there? I'm like, because normally I'm like, dude, it's like this is not serious time, you know. Like, this is fun time. Like we do silly stuff. That's kind of like has been my philosophy going into bartending and serving and being whatever. But yeah, so Hannah and I were talking. She's like, "Oh man, like this one person was just like, is that all Josh is?" Blah blah blah. And she's like, "You don't even know him." And she's all like going to bat for me, like, "Oh, Hannah, you're sweet."
Yeah. We're gonna hold that. I gotta pee real quick.
Pee break.
However, I have a great story about Hannah.
Okay, don't forget it,
dude. We're going for a while,
dude. I know. You know, I was just saying about.
keep it into like 2 hours.
Dude, it's so hard though, because especially like it's a little easier if I don't know someone. But dude, like you're my like I just dude,
You're
we're
my
having
best friend.
fun. Yeah,
You're
like,
my best friend.
Yeah, we're best friends. Like why would I stop talking?
Yeah, I enjoy it.
It's so hard to do.
So yeah, so I would agree with you. It like Hannah and I were like good friends like when she started working like at Rudy's, and like it was really fun like the first few nights like hanging out with her, talking to her, getting to know her a lot better. And then like as we started becoming like closer and closer friends, like she also got close with Mina. And like it was really cool just to see like their friendship blossom like outside of just me and Hannah, and mine and Hannah's relationship just blossom outside of like anything else, like outside of just hanging out at the bar while she's working.
Right.
Like it was really cool. But like also when like she said that she was pregnant, like I was like, oh, okay, like that's really cool. Like, and like I've had friends have kids, but like they weren't as close, right?
Right.
And like they were close friends at that time, and then like a couple years pass, and then they're like, oh hey, like we're pregnant. I was like, oh, that's cool. But like I was never like really like a overly abundant friend to them, like, or like we just started drifting apart. And like seeing Hannah and like just seeing just how great like of a mom that she is to
Yeah.
Isla is so cool. Just seeing how like she also changed to just be so so involved like into Isla. But yeah, like, and just to see like Hannah has been so cool. Just to see like, you know, like I don't mind kids, but like I've never really liked kids, right? And like
It's very hard to believe these days seeing you with Oakley.
okay, I was gonna get to that, yeah. But like, you know, like again, like, you know, like when I was like starting to hang out with Todd, like Todd had older kids,
Yeah.
like RC had older kids,
Mhm.
like Honey's had older kids, and like it was so easy just to like, oh, okay, like they're not like babies.
Yeah.
Like babies are tough for me because I'm like, dude, I'm gonna drop them once and then like that's it, like they're out.
Yeah, then they're gonna turn into you again.
Smart as hell, smart assholes.
Oh wait, I mean me.
but yeah, I mean, you know, like other than my cousin, and my cousin, you know, is 21 years younger than me. But like I remember sitting there going, man, I've not had a kid, like a baby in my life for so long, and I'm like, man, I'm not going to be able to like hold the baby. I don't want to hold the baby. I'm good. I'm out. And Hannah and I had that conversation even before Isla was born, and it was like, yeah, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, my thought was, okay, after 6 months or after they can hold their head up,
Yeah.
I guess. But I remember like the first time like I held Isla, I was just like, oh, God. It's a weird feeling. And like, you know, it was so cool like to see her also continue to grow up, to see her and see just how fun she is awesome. Just to see how much she is just like her mom,
Yeah.
turning into a smart ass is just great. I mean, you know, and then, you know, as Isla started getting older, then you had Oakley, and Oakley comes in, and I'm like, well, shit, now I'm kind of accustomed to holding the baby. Yeah, I guess. Like,
Guess I'll do it.
if you need me to hold her, like I got it. But now, like it's crazy to me because I'm like, man, if I don't see them now regularly in my life, like it, like they're my friends' kids, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm Uncle Ian. I'm the Funkle. I'm the Drunkle. And
The
it's
drunkle's good.
and it's so weird now, like looking back at like where I was like 5, 6 years ago, going, probably not gonna have kids, probably not gonna do this. I'm gonna have this crazy life. Like,
Yeah.
and now like my friends have kids, and like I can't imagine not seeing them on the regular.
Yeah.
I am so zoned into, are they okay? Hey, do they need anything? Like
Yeah.
doing all of the extra things that I can and be there for them. And I never thought about that. And now like the eventual, like Mina and I are gonna have kids, and now going, man, I'm a decent uncle, like, to, like, my friends' kids. I'm like, "Shit, I hope I, like, take at least a quarter of that to be a dad,"
Yeah.
like, but, like, I know that, like, when Mina and I have a kid, like, dude, you're gonna be so having fun with our kid. Like, you are,
Well,
like,
that's what I like. I mean, I like being the dunkle, as you said,
drunkle.
drunkle. But like I remember the first time I held Isla, I was at Emma and Hannah's house. I remember
Mhm.
sitting on the couch. She's like, dude, she's gonna be chill. Like, so I just put her in my lap and I held her like that. It's like she's just laying there, didn't cry. Normally, like I remember babies crying when I picked
Right.
them up, and I'm just like, didn't cry. I was like, oh, this is nice, And so I just sat there with her, just holding her, and just like, oh my god, little cutie, grabbing her little hands or whatever.
Yeah.
So, like I was like, oh, there are babies I like. And I was like, maybe I just had some bad experiences. Maybe I've grown up, but like I still don't want kids. But what I do like being around my friends' kids. Like I like seeing that. Even like the night that I went over to Todd's and like hanging out with the twins and just like all of us hanging out. I'm like, dude, this is fun.
Yeah.
Like I don't want this all the time, but I like,
You like
you
your
know,
dose of it.
yeah, yeah, and the same with like my nieces and nephews, etc. So yeah, for sure. Like all my friends are having kids. I'm like, hell yeah! Like I want to be around. I want to like see them grow up. I want to be Drunkle Josh, I guess is what the name is.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, it's fun. It is
But
nice.
but isn't like but again, think it back 5, 6 years. Like, do you think that you would have been in that same spot?
Mm-mm.
But
No, dude, it's weird.
right. But like now looking at it, it's very normal for
Yeah,
us,
that's nice.
right? You know, it's one of those where I feel like it's so weird because like I remember all of us and we didn't know a couple of them as much, but we've gotten so close to them like in the last like couple of years. But like I remember like us just being all crazy, wild, like loving to party, loving to drink, just like stupid stuff
Yeah.
all the time. And like never what I thought in 5 years after being crazy and wild, like dude, I'm like, people are getting married,
Oh, bro,
having
it's
kids,
wild.
like we're building this random crazy
It
community,
is
like
wild, dude.
from one place, like
Yeah, all from that place. I mean, if you were to think of like me, well, I'm trying to think of like the people that have a little more stability now, but like, cause Ivy, Emma, me, you, Hannah, like Todd already had stability.
mhm,
Like Tyler was single. Like now Tyler's in a relationship. Like just like a lot of more stability. Emma's not in a relationship, but she's like
she's
went and
super
got like a big
stable.
girl job. Like
Yeah,
versus when we were all just like going nuts. And I
yeah,
mean, I was single-ish. It was like because we hung out basically from Natty and then after.
yeah,
So it was just like, I mean, yeah. Look, I'm not saying I still don't go to strip clubs, but you guys don't.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who still does.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, dude, I mean, even Ivy would come to the strip club with me, even though she didn't like. She's like, I don't even like strip clubs, but like,
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't
we're
even
having
care.
fun, whatever. Like, so that kind of vibe. And now she's like a mom, and they have a business, and Hannah, the
They're about to get
mom.
married.
Yeah, dude, it's nuts.
But like,
And you guys got married. Like, I mean, yeah, I knew you when you were single. Like, it is wild to watch that kind of like transformation.
but I think it's also one of those too that like, don't get me wrong, like everything was all fun. It also made us who we are today. And I think the biggest thing like that is also brought us all to where we're at today because I think you also just acknowledging the fact that you are a drunkle.
Not for the next
It's a-
75 days.
It's a great group.
For the next 75 days, I'm gonna be a sunkle.
Sober uncle.
So
Trademark that. Well, like it's also been super cool just to see all of us really grow up together, be there for each other, have that, sense of wanting the best for all of us, caring about each other. Like it's been a really cool spot. And I think it's also been so fun to go through the highs of highs, the lows of lows, and also have that in between that has just been so cool. And just to see our group, even though, we've had people, get married, people have kids, people like leave, like we all still come back together. We all still really care for each other. We all love each other. We all want each other to succeed.
yeah.
We want the best for each other. And I truly would not be where I'm at today without my friends in general, And it's nothing against my family. It's nothing against my in-law family.
Of course.
Like they've also helped me, but like my friends have also become that outlet of when I don't have my family, when I don't have that blood family here,
Right.
they are my family. They
Yeah.
are rooting for
Same,
me.
dude.
They are they are asking me to succeed. They are asking about my struggles. And I think that is like the coolest thing that a lot of people don't ever get. And to have that with such a large group, but still a large but small, close knit group, most people don't know that. Most people don't have friends past 4 years. Most people
Yeah.
don't have that friendship for 6 years. And I can say it's so cool for me to have that group now for close to 8 years to see the crazy times snorting hot Cheetos off the bar instead of doing a shot.
Fucking hot
Like,
Cheetos.
like the, getting tased, the being there for friends' baby showers and first birthdays to weddings. I mean, it's such a crazy spot to think that like, dude, 7 years ago, like none of this was really together.
Yeah.
And now
Isn't that wild?
we're all so close that sometimes we also know way too much about each other. And that's a good thing, but it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I think like people go through these like friends phases. You have like you have your high school friends, and those are like friends of convenience, or
Mhm.
it's just like the only reason they're your friends is because you went to high school with them.
Right.
Like they wouldn't be your friends if not. And then as you grow, sometimes you keep those high school friendships forever, but a lot of times they fall apart because people really separate different ways, and the only reason you were friends with them is because you were around them, right?
Right.
So then you have like college can kind of be the same way, but then you have, like, I'm not friends with any of them. Like I still am like think fondly of some,
Yeah.
college friends, but like I'm just not close with them, mainly because of distance for me. Most of my friends started, about 6 to 7 years ago, and I have a few that like started earlier. But then, there is a thing that happens, and I've noticed this with some of my friends where like I try to find this balance because you can't keep a friend in your life too long if they're constantly a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So you gotta be like, dude, I think this guy
I'm
needs to
trying to be
go,
good.
or this girl needs to be good, right?
Yeah.
Or needs to go. Like,
Yeah.
and there are times in my life where I'm like, fuck, man, I don't think that's the person that I need to spend any time with anymore.
Yeah.
So there's that. But then there's also the counter to that is some people will cut off people too soon, where it's just like, oh, that person was a piece of shit the last 3 months to me, but in reality, they were just going through a lot of shit, and they're not. That's not that person. So you have to have a healthy level of forgiveness, or just compassion for, or empathy for some. Like I have friends that I don't talk to for 2 years, and then we talk a lot. And like, man, they might have been pissed at me for not reaching out,
Right.
but thank you for like, yeah, I was just going through my own shit. I'm back, like whatever. So like some people will they're just like, oh, if you didn't wish me happy birthday, like get the fuck out. I can't believe that you wouldn't be there for me on my thing. You need to, like, so like that's like a hard line, or that's like a super silly line, but like that.
But it's truthful though. Yeah.
That some people do that, but like if you take that hard of lines on your friendships, you are going to be isolated, because people are imperfect, and people are chaotic, and have their own shit.
Right.
So you can't, like, if like I'm not a person that wants to, like, I don't want to cut everybody else just because you wronged me once, or you didn't show up for me when I needed you that one time. But then you came back like, fuck, dude, I'm sorry. Like, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
then I also don't want to be a person who's just like, yeah, you've been treating me like shit for the last 8 years, and I'm still gonna take you back. Like, so you can't. So you have to find that middle ground, and I'm still like kind of working on it. But I have some friends on one side and friends on the other side. But I do think we are blessed. I think I am very blessed with a lot of really good friends, and I try to spend time with people that want better for themselves, and like lift me up, and work on themselves, etc.
Yeah.
And but I think that's all I had to say about it. But like, yeah, I mean, I think it's amazing how many friends, that really good friends that we have, um, and are blessed in our life. I'm like, I want to be thankful for that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I know I'm not perfect, and I'm like, dude, you could cut me out the first time that I told that one story in front of your. Like, I mean,
Oh yeah.
like you personally, I'm like, oh shit, I said the wrong thing in front of your family. I mean, like if you were like, you'd be like, dude, Josh, fuck you for that. Like, you got me in trouble for this or whatever, like.
But the funny thing about that is that, so for people that don't know, so Josh was my best man at my wedding. He did his best man speech at the rehearsal dinner. It was very heartfelt. It was very sincere. It had some jokes that were a little gray area, but that's also you. My family has also gotten to meet you through that gray area, right, and they know who you are. Some of them didn't, and they're like, ooh. But like everybody else that like knows you, or that has met you or been associated with you, like thought it was hilarious as hell.
Yeah.
And like I thought it was great. Mina thought it was great. I didn't cry. I teared up a little bit.
You cried.
I teared up. I'll give you teared up.
Cry.
but it was very genuine. It was very authentic. It was very sincere of you to give that speech. And I was not going to take that away from you to do that. And I appreciate that speech. It's funny that Mina grabbed the one card that said strippers. I grabbed the other card that said drugs. And there was supposed to be ... on all of them, or blanks.
Yeah.
However, we grabbed the wrong cards.
But you know what I mean? Like, and that's just like a silly example. But like you could, if you were in a situation, like I've outed some people, like I've said the wrong thing and like I fucked up, or
Yeah.
like I've been a little bit too much of an asshole, I'm like, dude, if my friend cut me out for that like fuck up, that would suck for me. But like
Yeah.
so I know that like they have extended forgiveness to me. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that one
Yeah.
thing, like they extended that to me and they're like, yeah, dude, we're still friends. Like, yeah, like my bad. Like, dude, me and Ivy had like a hiccup once, and it was just like, fuck, dude.
Well,
Like, are we about to like break up right now? Like this was a couple years ago, and I was just like, dude, I would never say that. And like, well, I'm like, and then I was pissed. I'm like, I can't believe you thought I would do that. Like, and
yeah.
then it's just like, dude, would I cut her out of my life forever just from that one hiccup? I'm like, no, man.
Yeah.
Like we both kind of fucked up, we saw each other, we saw something different,
Right.
And so I've learned to be like, dude, you gotta forgive, man. Like you gotta people are imperfect.
Right.
You gotta give them some space. But also you don't want to forgive too much if you're like all you're doing is forgiving them every week. I'm like, dude,
Done that.
yeah. Then you're like, okay, actually, you're taking more than anything from me. Like
Yeah.
maybe this isn't the relationship. So that's kind of the healthy balance I'm trying to find.
Yeah. And I remember with Zach, like, dude,
Yeah.
I gave him so many fucking chances. A lot of other people gave him so many chances
Yeah.
that like are friends of mine. And it was just, to me, it was one of those where it was just one by one by one by one by one of all of the friends that I value their opinion. I value what they say. I value like their opinion. And it was just that last straw that was just like, I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's a toxic spot for me.
Yeah.
Like my friends are like, this is not good. And it's unfortunate that you have to part ways, because I think there was also to that point where he personally just didn't have that back and forth of knowing when to joke, when to push a line, and when to like be
Yeah.
serious. But like I think we've also gotten to that point with even our friend group, like we we crack jokes at each other all the time, all of
Yeah.
us. But like we also know what certain things we don't push. We don't
Right.
joke about. When a secret gets shared with you, like you just don't share it,
Right.
right? And that's the cool thing about like our friend group, is we don't do that. The other spot was too, I got back into town, after my grandfather passed away, your grandma passed
Yeah.
away,
That's true.
and you're like, hey, come on over. Just, we're going to talk. We're not going to do anything else. We're just going to sit and talk. We'll have a couple beers. And that's what you said. We're going to have a couple beers.
That's what we did, right?
We finished a full bottle. We finished a full bottle, a lot of beers, and some other stuff.
What?
But
that doesn't sound like us.
But right, I slept on your couch. But like, it was also one of those where it was so cool because you and I could empathize with each other where we were at. We could lament in, you know, low parts of our lives without judgment.
Mhm.
I remember you and I both trying to make jokes. I remember me trying to make a couple more jokes than you. And you're like, hey, just feel it. Just embrace it. I was like, Josh, don't do that. Just don't do that. and I remember us drinking the Pendleton that I got when I asked you to be my best man. And I remember us going through that bottle, and it was one of those too where it's hard to sit there and like not be like, I'm a strong man, strong man. But like I also knew I could be super vulnerable. We could talk about it. We could shed some tears, and nothing different was going to come out of that other than hey, I got you. I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm here for you. And I mean, that was a great spot. And that really has continued to solidify our friendship.
Yeah. No, me too. That was a
That
dude,
was
that's
rough.
what
That was
like,
rough.
it was yeah. That was a rough period. And you were closer to your grandfather than I was to my grandmother, but somehow that still hit hard for me, like really hard.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm thankful that you lost your grandfather, but I am thankful that we went through it at the same time, kind of.
We
Like,
went
'cause
through it together.
it did feel like, oh shit, we are going through kind of the same thing. That was like a bonding moment, you know? Like, you don't wish that on anyone, but those are the moments that do bond people,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes. But I've been trying to like when I grew up, I was the emotional one of my family.
What?
Surprise. Surprise. So, uh, all my family's cold, just, you know,
Very stoic.
yeah, stoic. And I was always the fucking little bitch. And when I got to college, I was like, dude, this is not a good look. You lock it up. And so I went through a period of time where I did lock it up. I was like, you don't show your emotions. You like, when I would start seeing a girl, like, I don't fall in love first. They always fall in love first. Like I just like had it locked up.
Yeah.
But I would say in the last 4 to 5 years, I have embraced the emotional side of me again.
Yeah.
And I also like I do want to like I still want to be a strong man. Like
Yeah.
I want to be a strong guy. But like I do think that I've tried to learn to embrace dude, if you fucking feel like crying, go ahead and cry. And even if it's in front of people. And the one reason I feel it more is because I am around a lot of like very strong, stoic people. And I was like, they like if I allow them to do that, they might also be like, oh fuck, Josh is crying. Like I can cry.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be the cry all the time guy.
Yeah.
Like that is not the move.
Yeah.
Like so I'm like, I'm not trying to
What
cry
a
over here.
bitch.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't want to get made fun of all the time. But dude, so the other day, shout out Severo. I was like chatting with Severo. It was like pre-Christmas, and he's just telling like, man, fuck, he's down there alone. Like I could tell he's feeling lonely.
Yeah.
And so me and Cinder were FaceTiming him, and then Jazz came in, and I hung up, and like it came over me like a wave.
Yeah.
And I was just like I just like I wanted to be like I don't want to be lonely, and I just started bawling, and I'm like,
The hyperventilation
Dude.
just starts kicking in.
And Jazz is like, "Are you fucking serious right now?" And so we're just sitting there, like, and I'm just like, "Holy shit!" Like, I mean, dude, it does feel like a wave. It's just like comes through the belly and like out the eyeballs. I'm like,
yeah.
holy fuck! Yeah, like it took me like a solid 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, whew. I was like, I miss him, man. I miss the barrel. Like, and I was like, whew. All right. Well, shit, we gotta plan a trip soon. Like it's just like it all passed, and I was like, all right,
Dude, I can empathize with that so hard. Like I remember, like I was talking to my mom, and dude, it's just a normal conversation. And my mom's like, "Oh yeah, we're doing this, and it was around Thanksgiving, and my grandma was down there visiting my mom and dad, and my grandma was talking about like not having my grandfather, but it's so nice to be around family and stuff like that. And my sister and sister-in-law were like with my sister-in-law's family, and like that was super cool. They did their Friendsgiving, and Mina and I were here, and I remember like talking to my mom, and like my mom's just like quick, short, to the point. Like when I called her in the morning, I was like, huh, that's not usually like my mom, but okay,
right.
I respect it. So then my mom calls me back as she's like driving to Walmart and going into Walmart. And my mom and I had like a 30-40 minute conversation while she's walking around. She's just trying to partially avoid my grandma. And my mom like is like, I just miss you. And I was like, well, I miss you too. Like, I love you. Like, it's only been since September that I haven't seen you,
Yeah.
but like, don't worry. Like, we'll see each other soon. She's like, yeah, like, we'll see each other soon. Dude, she hung up and she's like, I love you. I was like, I love you too. Hangs up. And all of a sudden, like, dude, I don't know what it was, what happened. And I was just like, and I'm just I'm in the kitchen, like cooking, and like Mina was getting ready because we're going over to her parents' house. I still haven't showered. I still haven't done anything. The Bears are playing. And I just remember like sitting there, dude, just trying to chop sweet potatoes. And I'm just crying as I'm cutting it. And I was like, damn it, my mom's a little sad. She's a little upset.
Yeah.
I hate this right now. And I remember stopping and like I still have the knife in my hand and the sweet potatoes right there. And I'm just, and my eyes, I am just like trying not to cry, but like, when you like are like holding it in so hard that like it's starting to hurt your cheeks. Yeah. Mina walks out. She's like, you good? And I was like, yeah, good. I'm just keep going.
Did she catch it?
Oh yeah. Cause then I started crying and she's like,
she's like, what's going on?
Do you need a hug? I was like, no, I'm good. And she comes over, gives me a hug.
Dude, when that happens, then it's like the floodgates for me. Like as soon as somebody notices, I'm trying to keep it together. I'm like, no, I'm good. And they're like, wait, what's wrong? I'm like, no, nothing. They're like, hey man. And I'm like, ah, shit. And then it just pours.
Dude, and it was nothing bad. It was nothing wrong. And it was just one of those where it just like it hit you so quick. And like typically on those, like I can like reel it back in, not show anybody like that I'm just like I'm a little upset. I'm sad about it.
Yeah.
But like my mom got me and I was like, damn it. Like, it was kind of the same thing about like tears of joy, like at the wedding.
Oh yeah.
Like I had the whole thing of like, dude, for the last 2 weeks, I was like, I ain't gonna cry. I ain't gonna cry. I'm good. I'm good. I ain't gonna cry. I'm good. And we got to that last hour and I remember looking at you and Ivy and like, I don't know what it was, but you two just had these grins on your face. Dude,
I was cheesing the whole time.
Like you guys had the grins on your face and all of a sudden I was just like, damn it, I'm going to cry here. And I was like, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it the whole time. And then I like accepted the fact that I was going to cry. And then I'm like, okay, we're going up there. We're good. Everybody came down. I was giving everybody hugs. I was good. And then like I turned around and I remember that one spot where I looked down and there's that picture of you just looking at me with just the grin. And you're like, I know he's going to cry. I know he's going to cry. And I'm just like trying not to look at you, try to not look at Hannah. And then you're like, Blue 42. And I was like, damn, I got to turn. And I remember like halfway through the turn, I was already like partially turning up. And I was like, look at Mina.
Dude, there's no way. I'm like, dude, you can't look at your wife to be and not cry. I was like, there's no chance he's going to cry.
Dude, I was so close. And then I remember like looking at Mina and just looking at how great she looked. And I turned around and I was like, ah, damn it. And I remember both sides just laughing, Hannah laughing.
Yeah.
But I was like,
so good.
And I was so close.
Nah, dude. But I was like, you're not going to make it. There's no chance.
But where I'm going with that is that like, especially with you, like, again, one of my best friends, you have shared, the highest of highs and one of the lowest of lows in my life. And like, you allowed me to just be in the moment, be there, enjoy the time, and just be yourself as well.
This is the way.
And I thoroughly enjoyed that. And it was so fun. And that's why I was like, yeah, it made sense that you were my best man. And you've been there. You see me through the crazy time, see me through a low, the high, and
it is wild.
Dude, even if you move, you and I are still gonna be best friends.
Yeah. Dude, one more thing. Well, speaking of the crying thing,
I'm a nasty
one
crier.
of
I
the
get it.
things I wanted, or that I was stoked about, was during the speech. I was like, I knew it's gonna get a bit dicey.
Which one?
The speech I gave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, mine. Sorry. But I'm like, I know I'm gonna flirt the lines.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I really didn't want to go.
That
too
was a
far.
given.
Yeah. Well, like I was like, I'm just happy that he's like doing it. But I was like, when Mina said she was gonna cry, that made my like. She's like, oh my god, I'm gonna cry now. Like, and I was like, dude, because I know that she's like, Josh, don't you be fucking ridiculous, Mina. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like it's always. Like, cause at the bar, it's always a thing. Like, Josh, shut the fuck up. Like, God damn it, Josh. Like, so I know that vibe.
Right.
So I knew that she already knew that was coming. But to get her like heartstrings, that was like a win for me. When Mina's like, oh god damn it, now I'm gonna cry. I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah. The other one that got me is, I have a really, really good friendship with my dad.
Yeah.
And like my dad knows you. Like I talk to him about you a lot, like because my dad's my other confidant outside of you and Mina and Ivy. And it was so cool just to have you finally really get to meet my dad and just how much you would still give him some shit. And it was so fun. And then like to look back at my dad at part of your speech, and my dad's doing a little bit of this. Like because like my dad knows how much family means to me. And like just to see that. And my dad, like when we went back, my dad's like, he's family. He's family.
Hey.
And I was just like, oh, we're not crying again, Dad. Damn it.
Not yet.
Come on. But it was so cool just to see my family really embrace like my family out here.
Yeah.
Because
it's so cool because like they don't know, it's like it's they know that you love them, but they don't know them.
Yeah.
Like that's a disconnect. And then but I do love going like if you come into a situation, like if you're like the idea of if you're a friend of Ian, you're mine. Like that kind of like just acceptance coming in is important, I think, a lot of times, and they did that well. It's like, yeah, they don't know us.
Yeah.
But
you don't know me.
Yeah. But and then just the idea of like sponsored by Rudy's and like the whole like, I mean, if you were to talk to my mom about that, my mom has always been anti-bar.
Yeah.
But if I were to get married and have all of my bar friends around, she would embrace it. Like, and I know she would, but even though that goes against like what she like grew up with, but she's like, no, these are the people that love Josh, and so then she would accept them in. So that's like a beautiful thing. Like,
yeah.
And
I thought it was cool. Like the first time I met your mom, I know that she didn't like me, and that's okay.
I don't think that that. I think that that's what everybody feels because she's cold as fuck.
I like your mom.
No, what?
But like,
did you meet her here or did you meet her at Rudy's?
I met her at Rudy's.
Yeah.
So
she is cold.
So I remember Lindsay coming in, and so you were bartending.
Oh, they sat at the table out there.
Right behind the bar.
Yep.
And I remember like going up, like giving Lindsay a hug and being like, oh, like, so you're Josh's mom? She's like, yes, I am.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. How was your flight? It was good.
Yeah. Cold as fuck.
I was just like, oh. And I remember like turning to Lindsay and I was like, hey, I'll see you later. Cause like I remember us all hanging out after, and I was just like,
I forgot if you came over for the game.
Yeah.
With like Ted and Sammy, and were you here?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
But
that's
like,
when I was like, oh shit, she's gonna think all my friends are degenerates.
But it wasn't bad. But so I see you and I see Lindsay, and I'm like, oh, you guys are just like so happy, so over the top, happy-go-luckies. Like there's no stoicism, like you
Yeah.
can tell the emotion that you have. And then all of a sudden I like got to meet your mama. I was like, huh,
Yeah.
what did I miss here?
Dude, she's so hard to read. I think she's gotten colder in her age, but I'm not too sure about that. But like, cause I was always a mama's boy. But I mean, when you grow up with family, like they're not cold towards. Like she was never cold towards me, but
Yeah.
she is very cold towards meeting new people. And my dad is the one that has the more outgoing personality.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But my mom is more like quick wit. She's more like cutting wit. That's where I get my asshole nature from. It was just like pew pew pew, like I can.
So she's got
fire.
good quips.
Oh yeah, for sure. But she doesn't really open up until she knows somebody. And it takes a while.
Yeah.
And almost every girl that I've ever introduced to her, well, it's been like Cinda, Taylor, and Maggie. And Taylor was like, she doesn't like me, and I'm like, that's how she is. It's not that. It's just how she is,
Right.
But Justin has more of the colder side. Like, unless
really?
But him drinking helps. So you get a few beers in him, he's just like, rah, rah, rah. My mom doesn't drink. I'm like, dude, I wish my mom drank just to open up that side of her. Right. But she won't. But that's Justin's fix, because if you meet Justin sober, he's just like, oh yeah. Hey, so like your dress is really? Yep. What do you do? I clean carpets. All right. I mean, you just have to dig.
Yeah.
Like you have to like try to get him to talk, but or you just give him a couple beers. That'll open up.
Let's do a beer and a shot. Let's go.
Yeah. But then me and Lindsay are like a complete opposite. We're just
No, it's been really fun, and I've loved to meet your family. It's been really fun. I've loved to have the experiences, and it's been a great time.
Dude, weddings is a cool way to just like meet everybody. Like meeting all your family and extended and
the craziness.
It's just fun, man. It really is. It's like a good time to bring everybody together and meet and nobody.